Need much preparation, you know.
Yeah. All right. We are live. All right. Juice Heads, welcome. We got a very special episode of the Juice Giorgio show. Might be the first of many episodes with our special guest here, TikTok sensation, the Fat Jew. How you doing, man?
Sensation. Like I'm some kind of big deal. I'm just a fat idiot who tells the truth, and people hate the truth.
Just bodying liberals one at a time.
You know, it's just easy. It's really easy. I made 3 of literally the exact same video today.
So
I said, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you a question. How did you get started doing this? I know you don't have 1 million followers just yet, but I think I see like a trajectory beginning.
Listen, it's like a heartbeat. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. You know what I mean?
There's no rhyme or
Every
reason.
once in a while, I'll make fun of stupidity enough, and people enjoy it, and they get a kick out of it. So I'll spike up, and then I'll go back down. So right now, I'm on the incline going down because views have stopped, and you know all that shit stopped. I for the past 2 weeks, every day I would open up my shit, and I'd have over 100 notifications. Now it's slowing down. But again, I don't do this for the numbers. I do it for just because I enjoy doing it. People enjoy when I do it, so fuck it, why not, right?
I hear you. Well, I could tell you from having a YouTube channel, I just started doing this around Labor Day, and it's been a blast. Some of my videos will get over 100 views, and some of them get like 5 views. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes
it has to do with time of day, who's on, who's not on. Right. It's all fucking. It's a whole game.
All that.
I guarantee you, if I was a 20-year-old with big tits and ass, and I would just shake it a little bit, I'd get more views. But that, it's not how the world works.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was very hesitant to get on TikTok, but I had friends that just kept sharing videos with me on text message. And what makes TikTok different from a lot of these other social media sites, if you want to call TikTok social media or whatever, YouTube Lite, whatever it might be, you don't need a membership to view the content. So that helps kind of suck you in. And then after I saw so many videos, I was just like, fuck it. Like, let's try to have my data.
And the thing that I like about TikTok is that it's everything. You can find almost like anything you're into, whatever it is, you can find it. The thing I gave up on Facebook, okay, because Facebook, especially now with the way political gets, okay, you have family members and friends of family members and this one and that one that feels the way they feel. And then it becomes more like a personal attack. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, how could you say this about that? And me, honestly, even on Facebook, I'll call you out on your bullshit. I really like, I don't care. I don't care if you're a friend of my cousin or fucking your aunt. I don't care who you are. If you come at me with that bullshit, I'm going to come right back at you with facts, because don't dumb me down to make me understand what you're coming from. I'm sorry.
And that's what it is. And that's pretty much, if you ever read 1984, it's a dumbing down of language and society in general. And it's really a form of mind control. You know what I mean? Just turning people.
It is because at a young age, they indoctrinate this shit on TV, in schools. And this is all the kids see. It's like a perfect example. Like the other day, like, all these jingles that you'll never forget. You've been watching TV for so long that you know all of them. For a great low rate, you can get online, go to the general, and save some time. I mean, any fucking jingle you could think of. Like I said, I haven't watched TV in years. I watch Netflix. I watch, my Amazon. I don't watch commercials. I don't have time for that bullshit. You know what I mean? But this is what they do.
Yeah, even I just cut the cord. I use YouTube TV, and that it's like an unlimited DVR. You just zip through commercials or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, back to Facebook. I mean, I remember I guess we're around the same age. I'm actually I'm 36. I was in college when Facebook came out, and I remember when it came out, you needed a .edu email, and it made sense to put a lot of your personal information on there, because say you missed a class. I went to a tech school. I went to a pretty tough college. So if you miss like one class of like an engineering class, you're fucked, because every class builds off the next one. And so it made sense to put like, okay, this is my schedule. This is my contact information. And if you had friends, you could swap notes, whatever you had to do. But then when they released it to the masses, and I remember whatever it was, 06, 07, 08, and I had my mom friend requesting me on Facebook, I was like, this is done. Like, I'm done, So since since then, I've never erased my account, but I go on only so many times a year.
I got rid of my shit honestly, and the biggest reason is I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg.
Exactly.
You can say what you want about. I don't trust him. I think he's a sneaky fuck, and he's
Yep.
willing to sell your information for his own pockets. And I don't trust anybody like that. I got rid of mine. I said, you know what, my wife's on there. If I need to do something or see something, I can. Other than that, and I don't need it. Nobody ever like, yeah, people like your stuff and your pictures and stuff, but like everybody just falls out. You know what I mean? People go away after a while, and then nobody gives a shit, and then it just. I'd rather be able to directly talk to people who want to hear from it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that guy that's posted on Facebook and waiting for you to like it or something. And then at Christmas, I'm going to say, why didn't you like it? Like, I don't fucking need that. Yeah, I don't need that shit.
Well, that's what it becomes. And then it's funny. I have a friend. We thought we coined the term Facebook depression back in the day, like 2008. And it's actually, I think, a real term now, because it's sort of like Instagram, where people just make their lives out to be something that it's not. And people actually get depressed because they feel like their life is even shittier than it really is, because all these people do is post the best highlights of their life.
Right. And another thing is people took it too far too. Oh, I'm taking a shit. I'm doing this. I'm checking in over here. I'm checking it. Like, nobody needs to know every aspect of your life. Well, like when you need to tell somebody that where you're going for vacation and how, you know, I mean, I don't need that headache. I don't need to know about what you're doing. I don't give a shit how. Yeah, okay, you take nice family pictures, you post them. That's all fine, well and good. But I don't need to know every step you're taking in your life. Your life's not that important to me. It should be important to you.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I've never posted anything political on Facebook until after this election, just because. And again, you can't really talk about it on YouTube. YouTube pulled a couple of my videos. I went to DC for the stop. I don't even know if you could say Stop the Steal, but I'll take a chance and say it. But I went to the Stop the Steal rally on December 12th, and I just posted a couple 30-second videos of people talking, because they had multiple stages set up throughout DC in the downtown area, in the mall area. And YouTube pulled one of them because my friend AJ, Alex Jones, I took a 30-second video of Alex Jones and posted it. And what's funny is it only got 70 views, nothing crazy, but they waited till like last week to take it down. It's been up for it was up for months. So
because listen, it's simple as this, okay? If somebody offends them or says something stupid, they're gonna, add it to whatever algorithm they have, and whatever has whatever they don't like said or mentioned, they're gonna fucking pull it, because people don't understand how much power these assholes have, and they shouldn't have this power. I should be able to say what the fuck I want to anybody, and you don't have the power to tell me not to. This is America. This is our first constitutional right. That's number one.
Right.
Obviously, number one is important. You know what I'm saying?
It's number one for a reason, right?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? The 10 Commandments, number one. I am the only true God. I mean, it's it. That's number one.
Yeah, and they're chipping away, obviously, at the Second Amendment.
Yeah, they're chipping at one, at two. They're probably fucking trying to get rid of all of them, because what they're trying to do is erase history.
Right.
They're trying to erase it, and it's crazy to see that there are kids out there who are so uninformed.
Right.
They don't even know who Hitler is. They don't know. They don't know their history.
And we talked about this last night a little bit, I think, when you were on. But I'm Catholic. I know my history a little. I'm not an expert in history, but I know enough. And when they started throwing the Hitler term towards Trump when he was running back in 2016, it offended me. It's not like my ancestors came from Germany or anything, or I have any relatives. But I mean,
because it's so
valuing what that name is. You're not
right.
Right.
You're making it okay for people to be like Hitler, because what you're doing is you're taking that memory of the horrible, horrific thing that someone did, and you're dumbing it down.
Exactly.
You're dumbing it down to the point where somebody who hasn't done anything, not one fucking thing, compared to that man. You know what I'm saying? And you're calling him Hitler, a person who put thousands in fucking trains, brought them to camps, and put them in fucking gas chambers and fucking killed them all. Like, how are you comparing somebody to that nowadays?
And I don't care, I hate I don't know if I hate Democrats as much as just people that hate Trump hate Trump. But
No, because we'll
never,
never take it that far. See,
right.
you are entitled to your opinion or entitled to say I'm a fucking idiot, I'm a piece of shit. I don't care. That's your entitlement. But once you tell me that you need to put me in a camp to re-educate me, now you're
Those are scary
speaking
concepts.
just like Hitler. And Hitler, the same way the media is doing it, he did it back then. Only back then they didn't have social media and Facebook. They used newspapers and radio and TV.
Right.
It's the same thing. They did cartoons about Jews being the horrible of the fucking, they're stealing all your money and they're running the world and they're horrible people and we got to get rid of them. I mean, something so simple as that created, the Holocaust. Imagine how much worse it can be now with what we have.
Oh, forget it.
You know what I'm
Forget it.
saying? All it took was newspapers and radio back then. Now you have literally everything else against you. It's nuts.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how long you've been following politics as closely as you follow it. I started about 10 years ago. I voted for Obama in '08. I hated Bush. I was always an independent thinker, though. And I knew the media, for the most part, the mainstream media was always full of shit. But I bought into Obama's bullshit. I didn't really pay attention to what he was saying about fundamentally changing the
Because
country.
he was so good at speaking and
Right,
and just focusing your attention on other things that nobody knew what went on behind closed doors.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
And we
But
didn't
when
know
Trump
his playbook. Oh, I'm sorry.
right, when Trump did his thing, he had Twitter. He had a direct line to
Right.
the people of United States.
What
So
do you
you
think?
can, he was directly talking to us, and
Hmm.
then the media turns that off. And what does that tell you? That tells you
Right.
that they're scared of something.
And I was going to say, it's amazing when you think about it, how long Twitter actually waited to pull Trump's account. You would have thought they would have done this maybe years ago.
No, because if they did, he would have the power to do something about it. And
Right.
then, see, that's why they waited for the last second. Because if they did this 2 years ago, he would have come out with something that would prevent them from doing that ever again. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. No, that's a great
That's
point.
why they waited to wait until the last minute, until he had no power, and then they said, "Okay, we're going to pull your account now."
Right. And speaking of Obama, when he ran in '08, and I was not aware of this at the time, but his playbook and Hillary's playbook and all these Marxist playbooks is a book called Rules for Radical by Saul Alinsky, who was actually a mentor of Hillary, and I think maybe even Obama, or at least heavily influenced Obama as a community organizer. That's a dangerous term. When you hear that somebody's a community organizer, it's not like a nice term. Like, that means they're working on brainwashing people, basically.
Right, exactly, and they're using the playbook of Germany to do it. I mean, it's sick to think of it, but it's like the same paper, the same breadcrumb trail that the Holocaust left behind. These people are picking them up and they're reusing them.
Oh,
And the fact that people don't see it scares the shit out of me.
it is a very scary thing, because you know what they say about people that don't know their history, right?
Yeah, they're bound to fucking repeat it.
And it's a slippery slope. And once you start the censorship, which is just insane, I never thought I'd see the day in this country where the censorship is as prevalent as it is. And have you made any videos addressing that? Like, have any retarded liberal people told you, oh, they're private companies, they could do whatever they want? Have you
Yeah,
had a response to that?
yes, of course. You get those comments all the time, and I say, okay, so if a private company has a right to shut me down, does a private company have the right to stay open, sell what they want to sell, and customers to come in and then they're stuck? It's like it's so easy to put them in a box where they have no answer. Like I told you what the videos I made today. I made 3 of the identical videos. People in their stupid comments. I said, okay. I say, you know what? You win. I said, Trump's a racist. He's a homophobe. He's an Islamophobe. He's a fucking xenophobe. All the things you want to call him, that's what he is. And the $1 million question for you is, what is Joe Biden? And they I haven't gotten an answer yet, because they have no answer. Because whatever works for them is okay, but when you flip it around, it doesn't work.
Right.
It's just it blows my mind.
Yeah. And I spent a little time on TikTok today, and some of the videos that kept coming up in my For You page were minority people playing the audio of Joe Biden saying how minorities in bad areas basically don't know how to register to vote.
Yeah. And honestly, the reason why I do this whole political shit is because it sells right now. It's the hot thing, and it's just I have so much content. Like all I have to do is scroll for 10 minutes and I'll find a stupid video of Joe Biden trying to mutter some bullshit out of his mouth, and all I got to do is just feed off of that because it's so easy. It's not hard to sit there and make a stitch about Joe Biden and his fucking rambling, mambling bullshit. Like today, I made another video today. What the fuck was he talking about? America is back.
Yeah.
America is back.
I saw
America
a video
is
of somebody.
back.
Yes, they're like, where'd it go? I didn't know America went.
America right now is lost in the fucking woods, and this fucking guy killed Hansel and Gretel. Like America is not back. America's lost right now, and you're a fucking you're the blind man trying to guide America. It's like shut up.
Well, what's funny too about the whole Biden presidency, not aside from how the election was completely legit, right? The 2016 election was hacked, and there were all sorts of interference issues with the 2016 election, and that was totally illegitimate. But the 2020 election, folks, totally legitimate, right? I mean, nothing shady happened the morning of November 4th or anything.
Right. They only had 4 years to prepare themselves for this. They saw where it was going. And they said, all right, we have to win because he's too good for the American people. The American people are going to learn the truth. And a lot of us did, because there are a lot of people that are just like, at this point, what the fuck did we do? You know what I mean? And that's what they were afraid of. And they obviously, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that they fucking lost by a long shot. You know what I mean? How are you going to tell me that this man got what 80 million votes?
They're saying 81 million, yeah.
But he can't get 5 people to show some support at a rally.
Well, and just look at not only the number of downvotes he gets on the White House account on YouTube, but if you go to his Twitter, I think he's got less than 7 million followers.
He had to shut his comments off because everybody was wishing President Trump a happy President's Day on his Twitter. They had to shut the comments off because it was just too much. What does that tell you? And then everybody's like, oh, it's only online. You know what? This is what the world revolves around right now. You're going to tell me that online numbers don't mean anything? Are you kidding me?
Well, right. And what kind of numbers does he get when I think he did a couple live streams on YouTube, and his numbers
maybe 7 point something K, but then again, who knows? I mean, they changed the fucking likes and the unlikes. So
right,
you know,
they changed the downvotes.
Right.
No, it's just incredible how the media shows such hate towards the predecessor and how they cover the ass of really, I mean, let's call it what it is. He's a puppet. And to a certain extent, maybe every president is a puppet, maybe the last one being the least puppet-ish. But this guy couldn't be any more obviously a puppet in the Oval Office, and people just accept it. It's really creepy, actually.
Right. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And what's funny to me too is that he's gone now. You know what I'm saying? He's been very quiet, which I appreciate, because he's just sitting back and he's looking at this, and everybody's realizing they're still talking about him. He's gone now. Okay, so first you wanted to get him out, get rid of him. He's gone now. Okay, what's next? Do you not see what this man is doing to our country right now? And this idiot, they said to him, "You going to Texas?" Yeah, maybe. You know what it's like when the president lands. It's I don't want to be a burden. Burden? You just don't want to show up and see so many fuck Biden flags. I think that's what it is. Because anywhere he goes, they would mob him, because why not, right?
Right. And say something like this happened in California or I don't know, Massachusetts, or even in my shithole state of New Jersey, I'm sure he would have been on the first flight.
Oh yeah, if it was a Democratic state, he'd be there in a flash.
Yeah.
But he's scared to go to Texas. Are you kidding me? Texas? Everybody carries in Texas. He ain't going to fucking Texas.
Right. And what's your take on the Ted Cruz situation? Because honestly, I just don't give a fuck.
I could care less.
And even if it was a Democrat, I'd say the same thing. Now, to a certain degree, and I've been saying this now since the election, and I've been really saying it my whole time, really understanding and following politics. But to me, DC, all it is one big uniparty. With the exception, you have a couple rebels here and there. You have a couple independent thinkers like a Rand Paul, like a couple guys in the House, like a Matt Gaetz, that aren't afraid to just tell it how it is. But for the most part, we're really, I've been saying this lately, it's really been just patriots versus establishment.
Right. It's people who are controlled against the people who care about American people. And it's crazy to see, too, is that if you really pay attention, you see how people switch it up. And you can almost tell when somebody's being paid versus somebody who's not being paid. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll do a complete 180. They'll say a certain thing and they'll feel a certain way, and then all of a sudden they'll just flip flop, and you're like, okay, so obviously somebody lined your fucking pockets, or somebody has dirt on you, which you're afraid of coming out. I mean, that's a big thing too. I definitely believe in blackmail, and people get set up with shit, and then they just, once you have them by the balls, it's over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
How many people are potentially compromised just with Epstein? I mean, that's a whole nother rabbit hole we can get into, but
exactly. I mean, how convenient is it? Listen, I get coincidence, and I know how it works. But once something happens more than twice or three times or four, then it becomes not a coincidence anymore. This is just the way it is. How is it that, I love how when there's a high profile case or something dangerous happens, or the cameras just magically, like, something's wrong with the cameras. In Las Vegas casinos, 80-something cameras went out. Really? Come on, dude. Come on.
I think it's funny. We're going on almost 2.5 years since that happened, and still no explanation.
Right. Because magically the cameras fucking, didn't work. And the Pentagon on September 11th, cameras didn't work.
Isn't that incredible that all we have of the Pentagon footage from September 11th is just a shitty couple of frames of the plane going in? Now, don't get me wrong. I believe the plane really did go in, but how come there were no other?
That's what I'm saying. You're going to tell me the Pentagon, like a high-end government fucking building, you're going to tell me your security is flawed? Come on.
Right.
I mean, too much for a coincidence. You can't tell me, it's just coincidence that Jeffrey Epstein's cameras weren't working. Coincidence. Come on, coincidence my ass. We ain't stupid. They literally think like we're still fucking stupid and we're like sucking on the teat of the government. I don't need the fucking government to help me. I need them to stop taking money out of my pocket. I'll be much happier with that. Stop taking money out of my pocket, giving it to foreign nations to help them out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
foreign nations that hate us a lot too, for the most part.
Right, exactly. Yeah, let's give $1 billion to somebody in case you need access to Joe Biden. I mean, you're not even hiding this shit at this point. It's scary. Right.
And my governor here, so I'm not sure how familiar you are with the politics in the New York metro area, tri-state area. I don't know how long you've been in Florida, but our governor here is probably one of the most crazy leftist socialist liberals in the fucking country. And he's a former Goldman Sachs guy. I think we talked about that last night. But this guy ran on doing illegal shit, like wealth redistribution to illegal aliens. And now I think they're allowed to get driver's licenses. And my question is, well, how come I'm a tax-paying citizen and I need to bring like fucking whatever it is, 11 points of ID, or actually 7, but it's probably going to be more for us. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's almost like when you try and log into something and you forget your password. You know what I mean? Then you got to wait for the email, and you got to wait for the fucking thing. And then if you don't have it, you got to get certification from this one. Meanwhile, somebody comes in here illegally, they can just get a driver's license.
Right.
And then this guy gets behind the wheel of a car that he doesn't own or insure or anything, drives it, hits me with no insurance. I get fucked, lose my car. This actually happened to me, my Firebird. I had a fucking beautiful Firebird, 96. It was my baby. Had it for 7 years. Did so much work on that thing. It was brand new. Had it on the road for about 2 weeks. Coming home from work one day, boom, smashed me, completely totaled my car. No insurance.
That was in New York still?
Yeah. So now I got to check Christmas time, and $20-some $100, not nearly covering the amount of money I spent on that car. And now I just get screwed out of a car because some schmuck was behind a wheel, didn't know how to drive.
Yeah, no, it's insanity. It's insanity, and these people should actually be arrested for policies like this, because they talk about Donald Trump is not above the law, blah 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 blah. And you look at what these scumbags are doing. And the other thing he's doing on a state level here, our governor, he's giving illegal aliens free college on our dime. And it's like, well, what the fuck am I even paying taxes for at this point? I'll get arrested if I don't pay my taxes, but you're going to take money out of my pocket. I'm still paying off student loans like an idiot. Why should I even pay my student loans off if you're just going to give free college to fucking people that are not even here legally? You know,
because that's the thing now. Now they're going to give people free college because they want to secure that vote for next election. It's just the way it is. They pay for their vote. It's that video I saw earlier today on TikTok was perfect.
By the way, illegal aliens shouldn't be voting.
Exactly. You haven't listened. You have to have. My thing is this: if you're voting, you have to have lived in this country for at least, I would say, 10 years.
And being a citizen would be cool too.
Right. You know what I mean? You could throw that in there, obviously, but God forbid, you know what I mean? God forbid only citizens vote.
But see, what we're talking about makes both of us racist Hitlers.
Oh, of course. Yeah, because I want somebody who lives and understands this country to vote in this country for the policies for this country. I'm an asshole. I mean, this is the mindset in their heads, because it's not because I don't like somebody. It's because I don't want somebody who hasn't lived here and hasn't understood America to just show up, and then a year after showing up, not knowing how anything works and seeing anything at all, just tell me how to run the country. I'm sorry, that's not how the fuck this shit works.
Now, speaking of assimilation, right? Have you had to make any videos about that on TikTok?
About what?
People like actually assimilating to the American culture, and maybe learning English and acting American.
I haven't really gotten into it, but if I would, it would make me like a horrible human being, and I would be a racist and a apparently a Nazi.
Right. And it's funny too. Trump was a horrible, horrible man. He didn't create any new laws. He just wanted to enforce the laws that were on the books already, and maybe make Congress get off their ass and do something productive for the taxpayer.
Right. Listen, I got a small little issue. Can I take like a 5-minute break?
Yeah, go for it.
You want to pause the live, or you want to?
No, I'll just riff for a few minutes.
All right, bro.
All right, folks. The Fat Jew, everybody. He'll be right back. So, Juice Heads, what's going on out there? Tell me what's on your mind. By the way, this is also happy hour. We get happy on the Juice Giorgio network. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about that I didn't get a chance to talk about last night, and speaking of TikTok, so I'm in TikTok and they have these live rooms for those of you not familiar. And I was in a good mood. I was on my way home from a very decent situation with a nice with a nice new friend, and I'm scrolling through my TikTok on the way home just for audio purposes, and I find a guy playing an excellent playlist, and it's songs that I could have just played manually, but it was like a fun interactive experience with different people. And he was giving everybody a shout out in the room. And it was about an hour ride home. And when I got home, I stayed in the room. The guy was taking music requests. And again, nothing I couldn't have done on my own. And so I'm sitting here having a blast, making like new virtual friends. And again, I need to stress, this is a post-COVID thing. I would have never done this in the old world, because I think it's fucking stupid. If you can go out and do the same thing, go out and do it. I'm not going to do it from home. And that's probably one of the things that separates, I guess, my generation from the younger generation. Hey, Fat Jew, you're back?
I am indeed.
All right. We're going to throw you back in here. I was just talking about to the audience out there, because we know each other through TikTok. I was coming home. I'm not sure. Are you from the city?
No, I was Brooklyn,
okay.
And then I moved to Long Island at like 20.
All right. I was actually in Westchester last week, just hanging out with a friend. It's about 45 minutes from where I live in Jersey. And I'm coming home. I'm scrolling through my TikTok for audio entertainment, and I stumble across this live room with this dude, and he's just playing good music and whatever. It was like easy. I just left it on, and he was supplying my entertainment on the way home. And I was having such a good time listening to it on the way home. I threw it on my TV when I got home, and I stayed in the chat room, and it took about an hour. But then he just out of nowhere, it goes from like a neutral kind of like fun room to he just starts with the Trump bashing, and he was talking about how he regretted voting for Trump in 2016. Hey, are you still with us? Okay, it looked like you were frozen for a second.
No,
okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
Making sure. And
wait, what was he playing? Like a cover band music?
He was just playing like.
Oh, I thought you meant like he was in a band playing music. So
no, it was a dude in front of a camera like us, but he was playing music requests, and it was fairly entertaining. It was a small room, about 25 people, but we're all like chatting and like interacting. Then he starts with the Trump bashing, and I go, you know what? You seem like a cool guy. I'm a Trump supporter, but you know what? Like, I'm not going to try to change your mind. I think you're a cool person. You know, I'm having fun.
Let me guess, he blocked you.
Well, it gets better. So there's he had a couple chat mods in there, and I stayed in there for at least another 2 to 3 hours because at this point I was having some drinks, I was having a good time. We were all like, it was like a virtual bar, I would call it. And this is something I would have never done, by the way, pre-COVID. But with everything being shut down and closed in these states, I know your state is regular, which is good for you. But up here, we're still dealing with restrictions and curfews, and actually the curfew I think just got lifted finally. We had a 10 p.m. curfew on.
I'll be honest. If I lived up there still, I'd probably be arrested at this point.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy thinking like us and still physically living.
I don't do the fucking masks. I don't. I mean, literally, I'll go to Home Depot fucking 30 times a week. I never wear a mask.
See, it's tough because they have not bouncers at the door, but it's kind of that same concept. They won't even let you in if you don't have a mask. So up here, it's
I'll get that here too. Like if I have to go to Walmart, I put the mask in to walk in the door. Once I'm in, it comes off.
Well, that's what it's like in a restaurant, which is so stupid. You wear the mask to go in, and you sit. And by the way, you can't even sit at the bar. So you know what the bars did? They just put the high tables like right next to the bar. So it's like you're still sitting at the bar, but there's just a table that's adjacent to the bar. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But I just want to talk about this room I was in. So I was in there for a good 4 to 5 hours, and I was having like a good virtual time. And I hate to even say that, but what the world we're living right now, it was a nice little release for me when I got home from New York. And the guy didn't talk about Trump for another couple hours. Then he brings up Trump again. And I was like, dude, you know, I would have, you know, I support him, but I said basically the same thing I said the first time, but I had a few drinks in me, and I wasn't like bashing anybody. I was like, can we just agree to disagree, because I'm having a good time. I think everyone in here is cool. And the moderator like threatened to mute me and kick me out of the fucking room. And all I said, because the logic of the moderator, and this is what I want to get to, the moderator was accusing me of being racist, and I pushed back. I said, I'm not racist. I go, how am I racist? And she goes, you're racist because you support a racist. And I didn't say this, but I wanted to be like, by that logic, your pussy must stink because your friend's pussy stinks. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Unbelievable. I didn't say anything.
But that's the only argument they have, because this is the thing. Like, and we can get back to this because it's important. When the news media outlets compares this man to Hitler, okay? So they think that's like, you know, some people obviously know who Hitler was and some people don't. But everybody knows. Everybody knows. I mean, I pray to God everybody knows that Hitler was a bad guy. He wasn't somebody like anybody looked up to and didn't praise. You know what I'm saying? So obviously everybody knew that he was a bad guy.
And by the way, didn't he come from like something called like the Workers' Party or something?
Oh yeah.
He came from something very similar. Yeah.
That's how it started. And then he became like, you know, the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. So yeah, if you compare somebody like that to such a bad guy, that means that anybody who follows him, because they know that Hitler and the people who followed him were bad. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously they carried out the stuff that he said. So obviously Hitler and his followers were bad. So if he's Hitler, obviously his followers are just as bad because they did such horrible things. But you know, I don't know what those horrible things are. So that's why in the mindset of somebody that sees him as Hitler says, oh, followers must be just as bad. So that automatically makes us Hitler, obviously. You know what I mean? Because
by association.
Right. It's just the way it is by association. It's just like everything else, like cancel culture nowadays. Oh my God. This whole Luke Combs thing and Morgan Wallen thing now, it's like, and they love bringing race into things because as soon as you do that,
They're obsessed with
as,
race.
as
They're
soon
obsessed.
as you say race, color, okay, that automatically in their heads turns it into now it's us against them. And now it's about race, and you're treating me differently because of the color of my skin. Listen, I don't give a shit who you are.
We're
I
colorblind.
have friends of different creed, color, fucking logic, every fucking thing in the book. Okay, you can't tell me I'm racist. I treat people the way I am treated. If somebody comes at me with disrespect, you're gonna get that same disrespect. If you come at me with kindness and a fucking open mind and you say, "Hey, bud, how are you? Good to see you," I'll come at you with the same respect. I'm not gonna automatically treat you differently because of the color of your skin. I don't see color. I don't
Right.
see color as something to separate us. This isn't fucking 1776. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe back then they thought a certain way, but because that's what was instilled on them since birth. If you take that away, you end racism. You know what I'm saying? And the
Well,
more you put race on it, the more you're turning it back in time.
right. And we can't have racism really truly end in this country because that would solve a lot of problems and would cost a lot of politicians their job. So what they do
Exactly.
is they
And they
divide us.
make money off of race
Right.
because race is something that you get your investment back on because especially these fucking rich bastards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
it's
seems like destruction puts money in their pocket, and they want to see as much money in their pocket. And if that means destruction, they don't care because they're sitting in their ivory towers and they know that nothing can get to them. They feel bulletproof, so they're going to just do what they want. And they don't care about the consequences because there are no consequences. Because this guy told me that if I ever got in trouble, he's got my back, so I'm good. I mean, this is the way it is. It's like the fucking mob. Only it's worse. I would rather the mob run the fucking government because maybe they'd get something done.
they totally would get stuff done because what you put in is what you get out when you work for the mob, and
Mm-hmm.
and I think the mob actually would have the country's best interests in mind. But also, I mean, look, they'd line their pockets too, but at least I think they would actually look
But
out.
they were quiet about it. You know what I'm saying? They did their thing and let you do you if you wanted to do you. You know what happens when you get involved, but if you don't, you're good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, this is a mob that's affecting everybody, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, go get them, wash them, and eat them.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. And I was having this conversation with my uncle who you were talking to last night. Uh Politicians really, especially in DC on a federal level,
Yes.
they're not really going down there to do anything productive. They're going there to line their pockets and and collect money however they can. They're not truly going there for whatever it is they claim they're running on.
Wait, what are we talking about? I'm sorry, I missed the first half of that.
I'm talking about politicians, especially in DC on a federal level. They're really, I would say 99.9% of them, they're not going to DC to really do anything productive for the taxpayer,
No,
right?
see, no. I feel my whole thing is I see it that's human nature. I have a very interesting way of looking at things. I look at things like human nature, what makes sense, what I would do if I was in that situation, right? So I feel like it starts out, okay, when you first become a politician or think about becoming a politician, you say to yourself, I want to help because I see certain things that could change and could get better and blah blah blah. Okay. Now, once you're in that cesspool of corruption and destruction, it's very hard to, I mean, honestly, think about it. If you were jumped into a situation where people were just ready to fucking line your pockets just to fucking follow them however they went, just agree and all of that shit, I mean, I'm sorry, but you might take the bait.
Right. And the
No
most
matter what you felt 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, somebody wasn't handing you a fucking bag of cash and saying, "Hey, follow me." You know what I'm saying? I
But
mean, we all like money. We all like nice things. But I won't ever let that like turn me into a fucking demon. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what happens is that they get pushed around and they get used, and then by that time you're just so corrupt it just ends nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
And to me, it's just incredible how, again, they talk about Trump not being above the law. When they were giving him a hard time with the first scam impeachment, they're talking about, nobody's above the law, not even the president. And yet these scumbags are collecting money from people and dictating policy. And they're writing 5,000-page bills. What the fuck is up with that? Who reads?
Yeah.
Who actually
I
reads?
mean, honestly, this whole fucking Corona thing, okay? This whole stimulus in the beginning. I'm sorry. What should be on the paper is very simple. I want to help Americans out because we're going through some rough times. This is the money we have. Let's split it between Americans, and that's it. What's so hard about just doing that? I mean, that's technically a bill, right? If everybody agrees, I mean that's how this shit works. I mean, I don't know nothing about fucking politics and how the shit like really works, but that's essentially what's going on.
Mm.
Why the fuck do you need a goddamn Bible on what else you're doing?
Right.
It's simple. Help Americans out. That's what we're suffering. Just write them a check. It's not that difficult. But no, you want to go give money to foreign people and people who don't even live here. Listen, we can deal with those later. Charity begins at home. If you don't have food on your table, how do you expect to bring somebody to your table to eat? I mean, honestly, think about it that way. If you can't feed your own family, you can't invite somebody over. But now you're just inviting somebody over with no fucking food on your own table. What the fuck does that tell you? I mean, it's ridiculous. Help America first, and then worry about the rest.
Whoa, that was racist. You can't say help Americans first.
Yeah, because it's just, it's simple common logic. It's not rocket science, and the fact that we have people in this country who are so blind by what's really going on, and they think like these people have their best interests. No, they don't. They don't give a fuck about you. Why would they care about you if they can make themselves so much better without you?
Right.
Somebody said this. His name was King Face, I believe. I think I told you this yesterday. He said Republicans, you go to Republican places that are run by Republicans and it's clean, it's nice, you know what I'm saying? If somebody cared about you, they'd want to put you in a situation where you don't need them.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? If
you had good parents, they want you to leave the nest one day. They don't want you to be dependent.
Right. They want to set you up so that you can succeed in life and not be a fucking couch potato and play fucking games all day.
Right.
They put you in a position where you actually got an education, learned a trade, learned a job, and I got a job and became successful. They don't want you to be sucking on their tits off till you're fucking 30. Life is difficult. Life is not easy. For some, it is. Yes. Granted, some people have simpler, easier life. They got money, whatever it is. But life is fucking hard. You have to go out and work for things. If you don't work for it, you don't appreciate it. When you appreciate it, it's yours and you feel proud to have it. It's yours and nobody gave you shit. I enjoy the fact that I go out and I work my ass off and I have a nice place to fucking lay my head at night. Do I wish I had more? Yeah, okay. I don't have it. Big fucking deal. But life is difficult. Life shouldn't be handed to you on a silver platter. You have to work hard. And if you don't fall down, you don't know how to get back up.
That's very true. And when Trump ran in, when he made his opening statement in 2015, when he went down the escalator, he quoted Reagan by saying the best social program is a job.
Yeah, and another thing I saw today, now big corporations are shutting down. Big stores, they're shutting down. Why? Because this whole $15 an hour shit.
Right.
Now you're forcing people out. You say, oh, I want $15 an hour to work. All right, well there goes your job. You're not worth $15 an hour.
Right.
Now what?
This is another topic that just enrages me because first of all, there should be no federal mandate on minimum wage. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm a pretty pure capitalist. Crony capitalism is what the problem is. But crony capitalism aside, I don't even believe there should be a minimum wage, to be honest with you. And if there is going to be one, it should be up to each state to determine what that wage should be. But if you're working a minimum wage job, they keep conflating livable wage and minimum wage. My first job, I was 13, 14 years old working at a pizzeria at the counter. I didn't need a livable wage. And that the whole point of that is to,
Yeah, you were working for your gas money and shit. You know what I
right.
mean? Like back then you weren't working for a fucking house and a car. No. And then you said to yourself, okay, I did that too. I fucking worked at a place called Kosher Delight. They sold fucking $11 burgers, bro. The Jewish place in Brooklyn on Avenue J and East 13th Street. Made millions. Worked for that place. And you know what? I perfected that job. When I left that job, I was able to fucking do anything. I was quick about it. I was proficient. But I said to myself, I don't want to keep working in this job. I'm better than this. I'm going to go find something else, learn a trade. Then I went to construction, carpentry. I learned to trade. I'm good with my hands. And at this point in my life, I don't leave the house for less than $30 an hour. You know what I'm saying?
And in Florida, that's like $50 an hour up here.
Exactly. I mean, that's good money. You know what I'm saying? You learn something, you learn a trade, and you feel more proud about doing shit. I look at jobs and I do, and I say, shit, I did that. I fucking created that. And you're fucking flipping a burger and you're proud of it? Come on, dude. Fucking grow up.
That's not
Find
supposed
something
to be,
else to do.
yeah. If you're flipping burgers, that's not supposed to be a livable wage
Exactly.
situation.
You shouldn't be raising a family of 4 on flipping fucking burgers. I'm sorry. Find something else that works for you.
And if that's what you are doing, we've all heard the stories of successful entrepreneurs. They start out washing dishes or flipping burgers, and they kind of work their way up.
Everybody does.
Right.
Everybody does. I mean, especially if you don't know what you want to do with your life. I didn't know I wanted to do this with my life. I just said, you know what? I'll see what happens. I'll see what comes up. This happened to fall on my lap, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy making money by doing it. You know what I'm saying? I got lucky. Some people it takes longer. But learn something. Your happiness is flipping a burger. That's what you love to do with your life. I'm sorry. That's not something I love to do with my life. If it does, if somebody's got a life where they love doing that, then more power to them.
Right.
But don't expect to get paid more than fucking $8 to do it.
But eventually, maybe you want to go to chef school if that's what your passion
Right.
is.
Yeah. If you're into that shit, then you could move up and maybe become manager and start your own. I mean, whatever. But you have to have some kind of drive to, that just means you don't want to do anything more to get more money.
Right.
And nowadays, with all the shit that they got now, all these freaking make money quick. I mean, there's plenty of things you can do.
Right.
You just need to go out and look for it. They just don't have the motivation to do that.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then we talk about in this situation where they want to do this minimum wage. I call it a scam. I think everything the government's doing right now is a scam, basically. But $15 an hour, you're going to have a lot of unintended consequences with that. And that's why you go to McDonald's now and you're ordering from a fucking kiosk. You're not even ordering from a person.
Yep. And next, they're going to have machines that flip your burgers for you. And then I'm telling you, these people have millions. You don't think they have a couple freaking million to drop on research and creating a robot? I mean, come on. Nowadays, with all the shit they got, it'll take you a couple weeks to come up with some kind of robot that flips the burger for you and dips the fries in. I mean, it ain't. And that's what I'm saying. It's not rocket science. I'm not building a house.
Right.
It's simple shit. A machine can do it. They got machines that fucking make your chips and shit and like make your coffee. I mean, come on, it ain't that hard.
Right. And just to your point, I felt pretty fucked in the ass because I went to I did the 5-year architecture program at the college I went to, and I was working at a firm for like 35 grand, and I was like, okay, well, you got to start somewhere, blah 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 blah. A lot of my other friends that had different majors like civil engineering or whatever kind of engineering, they were coming out making 60, 65 grand. And in New Jersey, that matters because like you really can't, a livable wage in New Jersey, you need to make at least 60 to 70 grand to move out of the basement in New Jersey. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
North New Jersey, where I live about 20 miles outside of the city. So it gets more, the closer you are to the city, the more expensive it tends to get. So I'm like in that medium. I'm sort of halfway between New York and Pennsylvania. So it's not cheap to live here. It's one of the highest costs of living in the country. And so I was a little pissed off, but I took it upon myself. I wasn't really happy doing it. I wasn't making a lot of money. I learned a whole new trade. Now I'm in IT sales, and I make anywhere from 2 to 3 times what I was making. But you need that initiative to want
Yeah,
to go out.
you need to wake up one day and say, all right, I want to do something different. This isn't what I see myself doing. It's very, and I tell this all the time to people. I said, I have not gone, okay, since I started working. I probably started working at 16, 17, doing a whole bunch of different shit. But I've never gone more than like a week without having a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I lose a job or if I am unhappy, I'll start looking, okay? And what I'll do is I'll say to myself, what do I want to do? Let's say it's fucking plumber, right? I type in plumbers near me and I just fucking make phone calls. Because chances are you make 40 phone calls to, a blinds place or any kind of place, one person might be looking for somebody. Okay, I lost my job here. My boss said to me, he's like, we're slowing down, you got to find something else. Okay. So I sat down and I made phone calls. But the next 3 days, I think I had 3 new bosses. Like I had 3 jobs
That's great.
just for looking for a couple hours. You know what I'm saying? I was working for this company. I was working for, another company, and then I was doing all kinds of shit. It's just to drive the motivation. You just gotta. It's out there. You just find it, and you'll succeed in life.
Right. And consistency pays off. And it sounds like you're kind of a natural hustler, because what you just told me about is kind of what I do at my job. My job is to get appointments that lead to obtaining new business, right? So it's kind of the same. It's the same mindset, and it's literally doing the same thing.
Right.
And and whether you have that drive or not everybody it's a natural hustler or entrepreneur, and that's fine. But again, just to go back to the minimum wage, what it's this. I don't understand how you sign something into law that you're forcing business owners to do something to pay people on paper. So in a lot of these instances, you're paying people, you're being forced to pay people more money than what they're generating for your business. It just makes no sense.
Right.
It's
When I go to work, I have to cover my salary, and my boss has to make something too. If
Correct.
I'm just covering my salary, why the fuck am I working? My boss may as well do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because then he's just paying somebody to show up, and that's pointless, because that's the whole point of having a business and having a company is for it to grow and for you to make more money while doing less. If I'm making less money, then this whole thing doesn't work, and they just don't see it that way, and they're going to start to, because it's already starting. All the big businesses are shutting down, and they can't afford to pay their employees.
Yeah, and it's a shame. And we give it a nice term, unintended consequences, but who knows how deliberate this could be too, just to make people more reliant on the government.
Right, on the big corporations, and the corporations that, in a lot of places, that when everything was shut down, what was open? The Walmarts,
Right.
the big the ones that aren't going anywhere. And that's what this is all about too. That this all ties in to the corruption and the bullshit that goes on. This is all connected. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And like these say, just follow the money.
Exactly. I say it all the time. You follow the money, you find corruption. And that's just human shit. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's making an astronomical amount of money and they're only making 400 or 125,000 a year, how does that make sense? And as soon as you look into it, you find the truth. Look at freaking what's her name, Pelosi, just invested in Tesla, and
Right.
now they're going to change all the fucking cop cars in New York and all of them to Teslas.
Now let me ask you a question. And we were talking about right, when people go to DC, they might have good intentions, but the lobbyists get to them, the money gets to them. But this was just another example, probably the most recent example of just blatant. I knew this law was going to come out. I knew this was going to get signed into law. So I'll buy this stock knowing this is going to happen, whatever, two or 3 days.
And that's stock manipulation. That's illegal.
Right. So if me or you did that, we'd be looking at some serious time in the camp.
Absolutely, in federal prison.
And it's just incredible that nobody talks about it. Again, I mean, I don't care if YouTube pulls this video or not. I hope they don't, but I might get pulled for just even bringing it up. But it's crazy that
listen. If it gets pulled, then they prove our point. That's
right.
why they silence us. Because if people heard this, they would say to themselves, man, well, maybe that because they don't want us telling the truth. they want to keep running with the bullshit and lies that they have going now because it works for them.
It's so true.
And if it gets pulled, I'm not surprised. That's why every time like I see these videos, I'll scroll TikTok all day long, and I'll just see these videos that people are like, oh my God, did you hear about? And it's just stuff that doesn't surprise me anymore because I see it all and I hear it all, and it doesn't surprise me because they're so fucked up and they're so deep into it that it just doesn't shock me anymore because I know what level of fucked upness that they're in. You know what I'm saying? I know my words are all fucked up, but you understand what I'm saying.
Hey, we're sort of from the same area, so yeah. I can pick up what you're putting down, and I'll tell you, the fact that this is becoming normalized is scary.
That's the scary part, and the fact that some people just don't even see like the breadcrumbs. You know what I mean? We see the picture, and they don't even see the fucking splatter of the paint on the floor. You know, because and just imagine if you've never heard any of this or didn't believe any of it. Imagine what a bombshell that would be. It would be so unbelievable that you wouldn't believe it. And that's why they throw the word conspiracy theory out there so much.
Right.
Because anything that just resembles the truth is a conspiracy theory.
Right. And what's funny is people don't even really know the definition of conspiracy. When we were texting today to set this up, we were conspiring to do a live stream.
Right.
So they take a term that's a regular term and they 1984 it, and they make it a dirty, controversial word. And all of a sudden, anything you say that they disagree with becomes a fucking...
Exactly. The conspiracy theory. Because it's just... And this is what they do. They put these words out there, and it's just, it starts off small, but then you start to see that it's all bullshit. Everything.
Right. And the PC stuff. If you're not a fan of Nick DiPaolo, I highly recommend him. He's got a great show he does on. He got flagged from YouTube so many times. He started his own site called thecomicsgym.com. But he's a really great comedian. He's from Boston originally.
You gotta send me all these links and names, and I'll go do what I gotta do. I'm just very bad with names. Not names. Yeah, I told you names. Names I'm bad with. So send me like all the links and all the people, and I'll go look into it.
Yeah, without a doubt, you would love his show. And he doesn't even consider himself a right winger or a conservative. All he says, he just tells it like it is. He just has common sense. And because he's been in show business for, I guess, about 30 years or so, he said that obviously Hollywood doesn't hire him for gigs because of his views. Because he just tells it like it is. And he goes, if you lean right of center on like two issues, they consider you a Nazi in Hollywood.
Because if you resemble the tiniest bit of conservatism, it's like you're a horrible human being, and it's just nuts to me.
Right. And I actually, you're married, you have a family. Good for you. I'm not there yet. So I'm still on the sites. I'm still on Bumble and Tinder and sites like that.
It's a crazy world out there.
Yeah, and I don't put anything about Trump in my profile, but I have conservative, right? And people think that means like I'm for like dirty air, I'm for dirty water, I hate gay people. You know what I mean? Like that's what they think it means when you say conservative. And all it really means is I tend to side with the founding fathers' words and how they wrote stuff and what their philosophy was. And I don't want to see our country turn into a fucking third world shithole. That's really all it means. Doesn't mean I'm a devout Republican and like I suck Ted Cruz.
See, I'm just gonna start a new word. I'm just a common sense thinker.
Exactly.
I'm an open-minded, common sense. Simple as that.
Right. Exactly.
I look at things in different perspectives. I look at it from outside the box instead of being inside it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always looking, and I've always been this way, but I'm like a MacGyver when it comes to my life. Like if I don't have a way of doing something, I will figure it out, especially if it's something that I really want. I'm always very stubborn. And my mom tells me if I wanted something, I can move a mountain to get it. And I'm one of those people that I see things differently. I don't know.
Well, and especially in 2021, it's never been easier. If you really want to know about something, it's so easy to find out. Now, you do need a BS filter if it's politically related, but if it's something that you're referring to, like finding a new job or whatever, or learning a new trade, it's never been
That's
easier.
what I'm saying. It's so easy. It's the palm of your hand. You're looking at it all day, but you can't find a job. I mean, come on. You know, the youth today is scary. The youth today is scary. I think people should be beaten today for not getting beatings when they were kids.
Yeah, and you
Okay?
know what? It's really, there's been memes about it. I'm going to butcher it, but there's been so many memes about this is what happens when the generation of kids that grew up getting participation trophies become adults, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they get coddled and everything's okay and your life is not hard. But no, you need to learn early that life is difficult. You're not always going to get your way, no matter how hard you kick and scream and fucking yell. This is why they didn't get their way in 2016. This is what you saw, screaming and yelling.
Those,
Okay, if I
those
screamed and yelled in public, I would get my ass beat. And it was the last time I screamed in public. It's simple as that. And I learned that fucking life is difficult and you're going to have to fall down a couple times, but learn how to get back up quick, because if you don't, you're going to fall down and stay down.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, the more you get to know me, I'm actually a huge Batman fan, and one of my favorite lines from any Batman movie at all was 2005 Batman Begins, when the father goes to him, Bruce, why do we fall down? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. And it's a kind of a cheesy line from a comic book movie, but
No,
it's very true. It's very
but
true.
there's a reason. Another thing I also believe in. There's a reason why they say, there's an old saying, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what you need to pay attention to. Old people are very wise, and when they say certain things, they say it because they've experienced their entire life already. You know what I'm saying? When you've had that much practice, you can speak wise words. Listen to older people, and it's very simple. Just listen. You don't want to make the same mistakes. These people are trying to help you by telling you what not to do, and you're still doing it. You know that fucking saying, what would you say to yourself if you can go back 20 years?
Right.
These people are doing it for you, and you're still fucking up.
It's so
I mean,
true.
come on.
It's so true. And I got to say, I was born in the 80s, so kid in the 90s and became an adult in 2000s. I got to say, things I don't think were as politicized when I was
Never.
growing up.
Never, because right now it's literally like when you walk up to somebody today, in your head you're thinking, is this a Biden supporter or is this a Trump supporter? Say not. I mean, this is what the world has come to. Like when I go to a customer's house, like now I got to sit and think, is this guy going to be like, fuck Trump? Like, this is what we think, because that's how fucking divided we are, and this is what they want.
What's funny is you're saying that living in Florida, which is like to me, Florida's got to be the best state right now.
I listen. Florida is really like it's freeing. You know what I'm saying? I think people are so happy that they're not fucking sitting at home that at this point they don't give a shit and they're just okay with whatever comes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying in
Right,
America as a
right.
whole. You know what I'm saying? Because what, 70% of you are just shut the fuck down. You're worried about sneezing on fucking people, and I'm worried about paying my rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous.
Look, I've been working from home now for almost an entire year, and um, I owe you a beer because my phone rang during the live stream.
I don't play them fucking. I'll take a shot, I guess, if I lose.
but I tell you, I find it irritating. It's totally throwing off my sleep cycle, and then when I get my sleep cycle right, I'll fuck it up again on like a Thursday night because I'll just be watching TV, and I told all my friends this. I'll just be watching TV, and then before I know it, it'll be 10 o'clock. Then it'll be fucking 2:30 a.m. I'm still up. Whereas if I had to go somewhere, my ass would have been in bed at a decent time and up and getting ready for a regular day. So I got to tell you, the work from home stuff. Maybe some people love it and like it.
It'll drive you nuts. It'll drive anybody nuts. I almost guarantee you, if you did a survey right now, total fucking all of America, if you did a survey right now, whoever's locked down, if you say to them, would you rather everything be open and be able to go out and do stuff? Look, it's working in Florida. Like, I guarantee you 90% of people would say, yeah, I'm ready to open up and get back to life already. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This isn't a fucking disease that literally killed millions of people.
Bad
Like
flu.
they're looking at this thing, and they are manipulating it in a way where it works to their advantage. They want people at home. They don't want the economy to get back up because it works for them. They want people to rely on them because once you rely on them, now you need me. Now, if you need me, you want my help, I want something from you. And this is just the way it works. And whenever somebody tells you, "Oh, I did this for you," that's just telling them they didn't do it for you, they did it for them because later on they wanted you to owe them something.
Right. And I got to tell you, it makes things even socially awkward. I had a date in December from, I guess it was Bumble, one of the sites, and I'm texting with the girl trying to figure out when and where we're going to meet on the Saturday, and she goes to me, "Well, it's got to be outdoor seating," and I'm thinking to myself, "Is this girl fucking nuts? It's the middle of December in Jersey. I'm not sitting fucking outside for a first date. That's ridiculous." You know?
Sorry, I'm
And
listening.
yeah, no problem. And she told me she just got done. She was just getting finished working at the salon all day. So I'm like, what is the logic here? You were just in a salon for whatever 8 to 10 hours, and now we have to sit outdoors because you don't want to go inside a restaurant. And then what was even funnier is that I gave in to the fucking outdoor request. It was only a one and done date because she was an idiot. But she ended up like using the bathroom inside multiple times. So like, what's the difference? If you're walking in and out to use the bathroom, it's not the same risk as if you're sitting at a table.
Exactly. Sorry, but something with a 99.8 survival rate. I'm already smoking cigarettes. I'm already smoking weed. I'm already doing what I'm doing. At this point, it's less of a risk to me. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's more of a risk. What I'm saying is, I take chances with my life already. You think me going out to work is I'm sorry, I'm taking my chances. And you know what? If I, God forbid, get sick, that's just the way it is. If that's what God wanted for me, that's what I guarantee you. God doesn't want me to just stay at home and just like survive with nothing. I'm
Right.
sorry. I don't think that's why God put me here on this earth. I think I'm made for more. So I'm gonna go do what I got to do.
So what it sounds like to me is that you enjoy living in a free society where
Absolutely. That's me all day long. I want to live in a free place where I can say what I want, do what I want, as long as I don't hurt anybody. Nobody bothers me.
and honestly that's the one fundamental rule that I've always agreed with and always have tried to preach to people. You're a little bit better at it than I am on TikTok, but that's the thing. It's like just let people live their lives the way they want to, and as long as they're not doing harm amongst other
Right,
people.
right, right. Listen, if I was going around coughing on people, obviously I'm a danger to society. But first of all, I don't think I go around coughing on people normally. So, you think I'm going to do it now? I'm
Exactly.
really afraid to cough. There are times where I literally have to like hold myself in because I have smoker's cough and I cough a lot, like to the point where I look like I'm ready to pass out. It's just something I do. Okay. And I'm afraid that like somebody's going to look at me a certain way and then they're going to start a fight with me. And then I'm going to be like, listen, like I avoid coughing and it's a scary fucking place to, I'm sitting there avoiding coughing.
Well, I used to smoke a pack a day for about 7 to 8 years. I quit. I guess now it's been 8 years since I quit, but I still let myself have a couple cigarettes a year. Just if I'm if I'm having a good time with some people that are smokers and they offer me one and I'm a little tuned up. Yeah, it's I still do a couple a year. But I remember when I used to smoke a pack a day, I'd go right to the gym and do my thing, but I'd light up a cigarette right after. So to this day, I don't know if it's from smoking or what. Hopefully, my lungs are a little bit better now than they were when I did smoke. But because they shut down gyms here back in March, I had to go outside to go running, and I've been running on treadmills for 20 years. I haven't bothered running outside because there's many reasons. It's worse on your joints. It fucks up your knees a little bit running on the asphalt or whatever.
Right.
But I'll never forget, I was in March for the first time at my local park that I had probably hadn't been there since I was a kid. And I'm trying to run outside, which is a totally different ball game than running indoors on a treadmill. And I was about 15 feet away from this lady with the stroller. And I was behind her. And when you run, you cough. It's just, I don't know if it's related to my former smoking or if it's just like I'm getting shit out of my system from running. It's getting, me to cough and whatever.
Right.
and she turned around and grilled me like I was like trying to kidnap her children. It was the most insane thing I'd ever seen.
And but this is what they do. I mean, that's how far they've taken it. Listen, if this was like a serious thing, and I saw people just dropping, you know what I mean? Like if this was some zombie apocalypse type shit where people were just like dropping, okay, I understand. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna tell me that in 2020, okay, same number of people died in 2018, 2019, 2.8 million people. And all of a sudden, magically, heart disease is down, lung disease is down,
The
heart
flu,
attack is
there's no more
down.
flu.
All of that shit is just non-existent now. Now, every single death is related to COVID now. You get shot in the face, you died of COVID. You get hit by a bus, you died of COVID. I mean, come on. People are not stupid. I mean, some people obviously are, but a lot of us aren't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It does exist.
Right.
And if you're an old person and you have, like underlying issues, obviously you're at risk. Don't fucking go outside. The elderly can stay inside and fucking and quarantine for as long as they want. But don't tell me, a person who's 30 years old, I can't go out because and my chances of living are 99.8%. I want to take that 99.8% chance of going
And that
outside.
should be your decision.
Right. And I should have the freedom to do that. If I went outside, that's on me. I know what's out there. I know what's there. It's not like I'm blind to it. I know what's there and I'm still going out. That's on me now. If I go out there and I'm forced to go out there and I have issues, obviously, that's a different situation. But if you're at risk and you have underlying issues, stay the fuck home. Simple as that.
Right. And this is, I believe, the first time in recorded history where you're forcing the whole society to quarantine as opposed to any other quarantine I've ever had in my life. It's
Right.
supposed to be for elderly and vulnerable, not for
Mm-hmm.
the entire population.
Right. When you think quarantine, you think the person who's sick needs to quarantine and get, obviously that's fine. If you're sick, go home. If you're not sick, go to work.
Right. And I have a 95-year-old grandmother. She's not in the best physical shape, but she's, older mentally. And look, when I go see her a couple of times a week. I keep my distance. I don't wear a mask, but I stay far enough just in case, just to be careful. But people like her are the ones that should be quarantined. And she's on permanent quarantine because she's sort of bedridden. She has been for a few years now. But those are the types of people that should, if you're going to force anybody to quarantine, right?
It's already the elderly who's elderly stay on a couch and don't go anywhere.
Right.
And they're the ones at most risk. Okay, so put a bubble around their couch and leave them the fuck alone and feed them 3 times a day and give them a fucking TV and they're happy. I mean, what the fuck?
Right.
They're just doing the same thing they did on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, completely correct. And the one thing that they gave Trump such a hard time on was the case numbers. And this guy assembled a task force that they had such good testing. When you increase the testing, of course the case numbers are going to go up because we probably have the best testing in the world by like 1,000 times over. So when you have that, you're going to have a higher proportion of case numbers.
Yeah, but you're also going to have the false negatives.
Right.
I mean, whatever. Like perfect example. My son tested positive a couple weeks ago. He had a little bit of cough or whatever it was, but he was fine. He got tested because the school told us that some kid had it, so we got him tested, and we noticed that he was a little sick a couple days, whatever. So we got him tested. He was positive. Now at this point, I was like in the stages of changing my job and shit, and this was like, I had to go make money, and I literally couldn't afford to stay home.
Right.
So I went and got tested, and I was negative. So my son that's running around touching everything in this fucking house. Obviously, I kept my distance, blah, blah, blah. I tried my best. But you're going to tell me I didn't catch it while he's all over the place, kissing me goodnight every single night, and I didn't catch it? You know what I'm saying? It's just there's too many irregularities.
Correct. And there's not only irregularities with what you're just saying, and you could be what's the word I'm looking for? Asymptomatic.
Yes, that too.
there's also irregularities with the data as a whole.
Right. Right. It's like one day the CDC tells you you don't have to wear the mask. Next day they tell you you do have to wear the mask. Next day Fauci tells you to wear the whole fucking box. It's like they can't even make up their mind. And the science behind it is simple. This isn't something we haven't come across before. I guarantee you, if you go down in history, there's been a disease that had a worse survival rate. Like your survival rate was 75%. You know what I'm saying? And they managed to, the science behind it, herd immunity and all of that shit comes into effect.
Right.
I'm sorry, but you can't, the body needs to know what it's fighting in order to fight it. The body is one of the most amazing things I've ever, like, when you really think about how amazing the human body is, you know what I mean? God created an amazing thing, a body that can learn how to fight something off by being exposed to it. If you keep somebody in a bubble their whole life, they will get sick from sunlight. You know what I mean? Like, your body needs to learn. When you played in mud as a kid, you're playing in dirt, you're playing in bacteria. Your body's learning to immune to disease and sickness. You know what I'm saying? That's what life is. Diseases show up and we learn how to fight them if you need, whatever it is. But, I mean, you're going to tell me that we need to shut everything down, put everybody in a box, and not learn how to survive from this. I mean, come on.
And to your point, it's like, let's just wrap everybody up in a bubble and let's not promote strengthening immune systems.
Right. And these little doctors, like these doctors are saying, like, stop it. We have a simple solution for it. The whole hydrochloroquine.
Well, I heard that doctors last year, especially in the summertime when that whole thing hit a high point with how they were misrepresenting what Trump said at that press briefing, the doctors were actually asking people what their political views were because
because everything is political.
To help them and give them hydroxychloroquine because it was a proven method. But if you hated Trump because he promoted it,
you didn't believe it.
Right. And Trump even, I watched the press briefing where he was even saying, I should have never brought it up. Like, he actually said that because he goes, I should have known what you guys were going to do when I mentioned it.
Right. And these were like esteemed doctors saying to you, like, I've cured my patients with zinc and hydroxy, and like, what, you don't believe a doctor who's been doing this for 20 fucking years?
Right. And I heard hydroxychloroquine was good with the other COVIDs, like the prior ones or whatever.
Because, like I said, and they've even seen coronavirus existed before this.
Right.
It just wasn't, it wasn't as bad as everybody said it was.
Right. Yeah. If you look at certain cleaning products from a year ago, they mentioned one of the things that the kill is COVID when you're using it.
Right.
I guess it could sit on your.
And my whole thing is, goes back to what I was saying earlier. The coronavirus was the perfect weapon. The perfect weapon to put a halt to everything that he was doing. Because if he did too much good, people would know the truth. They had to shut it down because it got too good too quick. Man didn't start any new world wars. He was working on that freaking border wall and he got 470 miles done. Okay, if he was in for another 8 years, that thing would be completed.
Considering the resistance he had for that, that's amazing he got even that much done.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? He was doing too well. Remember when he said you're going to get tired of winning? and honestly, they got tired of his winning and they had to shut it down. So instead of playing this off like the last disease there was and it phased out, this became an amazing pandemic in order to shut him down, and they used it to their advantage.
Absolutely.
Like they do everything else.
Right. And you had blue states like the state I live in, which, to be honest with you, I think there's something shady in my state because you could cut New Jersey into south and north, and south has Philly, north has New York. So like the cities and towns right outside of those big metropolitan areas they're always going to be blue. There's just nothing you can do about it. But this state, I don't know how it went as left as it did in terms of voting results. So who knows what the fuck's going on? This is one of the shadiest states in the union. But I know actually way more Trump supporters here than I know people that hate him, believe it or not.
Probably.
But the point is that they used the whole pandemic to change the election laws like weeks before the election. Like I couldn't vote in person. And I heard your governor is actually doing the opposite. He's trying to ban mail-in voting, which is fucking awesome. I love your governor, by the way. As much as I hate my governor, yours.
I'm telling you, I lucked out. I moved here 2 years ago, and let me tell you, I am the happiest man for it because I guess I got out just in time, and that's why I believe everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Now, it sucks that, that people are stuck in that situation. I'm just glad I got out, and I'm glad that I have a governor that actually stands up for the people that voted for him, because that's the whole point of this whole thing. Right. And that man, he was a fucking Navy SEAL. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy I want in my corner, somebody that knows what it is.
Yeah. It's a very rare statement to make, but he was actually a good congressman in D.C.
Yeah. It's just it's crazy what's going on. It's like the stories I'm hearing. I'm like, I can't see myself doing that.
Well, you know what I mean? Speaking of your governor, did you hear about the guy that he beat in the election? They found him like in a motel, I think a year ago or a year and a half ago, and he was like. There was like all crack cocaine in there, and he had
I'm not surprised, dude. It's Florida.
But what's funny is, and he had like a gay prostitute, like a gay dude prostitute. But that guy was like this close from winning. But
how do you think? Listen, most of these people are that fucking sick and corrupt. Like, look at all the scandals you see that are like legit. You know what I mean? Look at what Chris. Not what the fuck is his name?
Chris's brother, Andrew.
What?
Are you talking about Andrew Cuomo, your former governor?
No, not Cuomo, not Cuomo. He was this heavy set guy who was like smoking crack or some shit.
Oh, the guy from Canada, the guy from Toronto.
Yeah, I guess so. He was like smoking crack or something.
Like the mayor of Toronto.
Yeah, he was a heavy set guy.
Yeah, this is about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who these people are. You know what I'm saying? Look at the whole Epstein shit. I mean. I'm sorry, but I definitely think that, I mean, with the amount of stuff that I've seen and heard, you know what I mean? And like literally, you can see some of this shit, you know what I mean? But with the stuff I've seen, it's just insane.
I'd like to know why Epstein had a painting of Bill Clinton in the Monica Lewinsky dress.
Yeah. And also the painting that he had of Bush playing with, blocks or some shit?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and then it's just a coincidence that he killed himself by I mean, come on. You're going to tell me that this just happens to be coincidence? No, that's bullshit. That is 100% bullshit. You can keep an eye on El Chapo and see how he escaped, but you can't see how Epstein killed himself? Come on with that bullshit.
Right. And before we were talking about, there must be a lot of compromised people. So I'm basically coming up with a new theory right now. You got two types of politicians: compromised and just bought out.
Right.
And that's why one of the biggest reasons why we love Trump, because he's neither.
Exactly. Nobody was pulling the strings, and that's why everybody was so scared of him. And that's why as soon as he said he was running, they had to make sure that he didn't run because they weren't able to get to him. How are you going to tell me that this man lost over $1 billion while he was in an office? Okay, didn't take a paycheck.
Donated everything.
And I've said this in a podcast before. I said lost $1 billion. That's 1,000 million. That's right. A lot of fucking money. 1,000 million.
But according to liberals, he was never a successful businessman, and all his businesses failed.
Come on, are you kidding me?
If he was a reality star.
Let me just say this: if Trump was corrupt, he would have went in $4 billion and left at $30 billion.
Exactly.
Because you look at all of these other politicians.
Right. All their networks.
They just skyrocket because there's so much wealth at the top that it costs them nothing.
Right.
Like, look at all the media in this world. It's all controlled by like 6 people.
Right. And people don't understand that. It's like really, it's literally a group of like 6 people that sit in a
Yeah,
room and they
yeah,
decide.
right. They smoke their cigars, they drink their whiskey, and they while they're getting a blowjob and sniffing coke off of a stripper's ass, they're just making more. It's just and nobody seems to see this. Like this is just
Right.
nobody sees it.
It's
They're worth
bigger. It's bigger than Democrats versus Republicans.
right. This is what we are tiny little fucking ants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the ant farm that these people are putting crumbs in. Okay,
Absolutely.
we're tiny little pieces in this giant game of chess that they play for sport when we actually do the work and this is it's all a game.
And the reason why we're the biggest threat to them is because we think for ourselves. It's not that we support Trump.
And we have numbers. If listen, if everybody stopped this Democrat Republican life right left shit and sat at the table together and said, you know what, let's run this the way we think we should, the power in numbers is just astronomical. And that's the thing that scares them, and that's why they work so hard on separating us, because they know if we're divided, then we're useless. If we all come together, the power in numbers is astronomical. They would have no chance.
Right. And that's why I consider myself a patriot first. And unfortunately, I have to be a registered Republican so I can vote in the primaries for the least Republican candidate because I hate both parties. I love the country.
Gee, and yeah, no party is ever going to be good because both parties are, again, yes, you can tell me that some people do care, and yes, I know that they do, but at the end of the day, it's all about money.
That's what it
Because
is.
money fucking rules the world. Because to some people, to most people, money is worth more than money. You know what I mean? Money
Right.
is what they think they need to make themselves look good, and they want to make as much as they can. Listen, I like money, okay? I'm not gonna lie. I like when I have money in my pocket, and I don't need much. When I have, my little cash in my pocket, I'm always in a better mood. My wife even says it. When I'm broke, I'm miserable. I'm fucking miserable. When I got money in my pocket, I'm a happy man. Because I like having some jingle in my pocket. Do I need millions and billions? No. Do I think that'll make me happy? Maybe, but do I need it to live my life? No. Because at the end of the day, we all get put in a 6-foot hole and we don't take a fucking dime with us. So what the fuck is money if you can't take it with you? My whole thing is you leave this earth with some memory of some good, some decent, just grow up to be a decent human being, be a good fucking person, and hopefully they'll let me in. If there is an afterlife, they'll let me in because I think I'm doing a pretty good job at being a decent human being. Some of these people are going to be first in line in the fucking hounds of hell, and I know it. And you know what? That's the life they chose. That's what they want to do. Fine. When you start affecting my life and my happiness, and now you're telling me that I can't live my life and be the human I want to be, now you're fucking with my life. You want to be a corrupt piece of shit? That's fine. When you start affecting my life and my happiness and my just will to live and be who I want to be, now you're fucking with me.
Yeah, and that's basically what our country was founded on, right? Don't tread on me. That's probably my favorite flag next to the 1776.
And eventually, when a bully pushes somebody against a wall enough, eventually they're going to scratch back. Whether they scratch back, kick back, punch back, whatever it is, they're going to try something. And when it happens, you might not like it. You know what I'm saying? Don't bully me. Don't tell me you're going to come into my house and confiscate my shit and tell me that I can't protect myself. I'm sorry. Last time I checked, this is America. I have the freedom to live my life. Now you're telling me I don't. You're going to take my shit away, but you're going to not, you obviously don't know who the criminals are, so you don't know who they are. So now you're going to give rights to criminals that people who just want to be good human beings can't? No.
It really, it's the opposite of what makes sense. So while we're talking about that, do you have a nice little collection down there?
I mean, I got a couple. I I got 2 pistols, one for me, one for my wife, and I got a shotgun
That's great. Yeah, I have
for the house.
one. I was never really compelled to buy firearms of my own. I was just never
Oh, but
interested.
I'm sorry. Right after this interview, there was a fire and they got destroyed.
Wait, what?
I said right after this interview, there was a fire and they got destroyed. I don't have any guns.
Right. Yes. Me neither.
Right.
But no, I was really never compelled my whole adult life to purchase one until this recent governor won back in. He won 1 year after Trump got into office, so he won at the end of 2017, and he's so left. I was like, fuck it, like I need to get something. So, and this is a tough state for firearms. Obviously, it's one of the toughest out of
Yeah, I'm really glad. That's another reason. I know it sounds like a crazy reason, but that's another reason why I picked Florida. I mean,
it does.
obviously the sunshine had something to do with it,
Yeah.
but I picked Florida because I
Were you
said, you
looking
know
at
what?
Texas also?
What?
Were you looking at Texas also?
No, Texas I feel was too far,
Right.
and also uh, I don't know.
Florida.
Texas, I know it gets real hot, but I didn't want to go that far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I needed something close, warm. I said to myself, you know what? Down in Florida, it's retirement state. I'm a handyman slash carpenter. I mean, if people need help doing shit around the house, it's going to be old people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the weather. And I said, you can own guns down there. And I said, you know what? I feel better down there.
Yeah. Now, do you have relatives down there?
What? No, no. Came here. A friend came down here a couple years before I came down here. And I've just always liked the idea of Florida. I've been here
Are
a
you
couple
guys
times.
near each other?
Yeah. He was working at the same company as me.
Oh, no. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, well, what I did was I did it smart. I left my wife in New York, and my friend was living down here already. So I said, I'm gonna come live with you for a couple months, set stuff up, because I didn't have like a house in New York where I could sell and then move, down
Right.
here. I said, let me just leave my wife here. She was living at her mom's. I said, let me come down here and I'll set stuff up. I'll get a house. I'll get a job, and then I'll just slowly do it. And it worked out. I literally left on a Thursday. I packed my shit and I told my wife, I said, I'm doing this because I talked about it for years. I've been talking about it for the past 5 years. So it was always in the back of my mind. I always wanted to do it. And eventually I just said, you know what? Also, stuff happened with my wife's family and all kinds of shit. And I had to get away. I said,
Sure.
I have to save my life. I said, I would love for you to come with me. I said, if we're doing this together, let's do it. But I said, I need to get myself away from this because I saw my life going downhill. I
Well,
was like, no.
I hear some of the most successful people in general, they take a risk similar to what you did, and that's what you have to do in life. Sometimes you have to take a calculated.
And that's what life is about. You know what I'm saying? If you are in a position where you are like just unhappy, get yourself out of that situation. You know what I'm saying? If you're unhappy making $7 an hour, take yourself and fucking find a
Right.
decent
Instead
job
of
and
waiting
make
for
more.
Congress to mandate a minimum wage.
Right. That's what life is. Why should the government bend to my fucking laziness? If you don't have the fucking balls to pick yourself up and say, I want to better myself, let me find something different that can get me that betterness, what the fuck? Then what do you want from me? It's just, so that's what I did. I came down here, I set stuff up, and I said, let's do it. I was sick of the bullshit. I said, let's go. And we did it, and I'm the greatest thing I ever did.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
So when I actually worked in Midtown for a number of years, and my company was headquartered out of Islandia. I don't know if you lived anywhere near there, but that was like
No.
I want to say that was about halfway through Long Island.
What? Say what?
The town was called Islandia, where my company was based. So I'd be in Long Island a couple times a month when I was at my job in Midtown.
We were in the beginning of Long Island, like
By Queens,
exit. No, a little after Queens, exit 20 off the Southern State. So it was like the beginning of the island. It wasn't far in. It was Nassau, not Suffolk.
Right. Yeah, I was in Suffolk for work. That was a nightmare fucking commute too, because as you know, our infrastructure is so awesome up here in the.
Well, they're still working on the Belt Parkway. I don't think they're ever going to stop working on that shit. They've been working on the Belt Parkway since I was a teenager.
Right. And it's funny, I was visiting a friend in Tampa, Tampa area, St. Petersburg, was where my friend lived. And when she was at work, she gave me her car, and I would just drive around to different places. I went to like the original Hooters. I found a couple gyms to go to, and just the infrastructure. And that was
Good night.
obviously Western Florida, but just the amount of care that it looked like they were taking of their taxpayers was like night and day compared to up here.
Yeah, people can't drive down here, but the roads are nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on the highways, it's a comfortable ride, but people can't drive worth the shit. They literally crawl up each other's asses. So it's like a domino effect. If the first person like
Yeah.
hits the brakes, it's
Right.
just boom, 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 boom. You know, they don't give themselves room. It's scary. And of course, at 80 miles an hour, that's the scarier part.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think I drove long enough to notice that down there, but just the difference in like, hey, we're actually going to we're actually going to give people something that we're taking their money for. And by the way, they really don't even take your money because there's no state income tax down there.
Yeah.
So I guess they make that up through when you buy stuff.
Probably. They make up for it somehow.
Yeah.
Well, let me just tell you this. Another thing I was looking into when I was, first thinking about doing it. I was paying $1,200 for this fucking maybe 700 square foot like little apartment on top of an apartment, right? I was paying $1,200 for that. I had one bedroom, a smaller tiny bedroom, a tiny bathroom, and a tiny kitchen, and that's it. $1,200. I come down here for $900. I get a full living room, two bedrooms, full bathroom, full kitchen, laundry room for
900.
$900. I mean, it was, and I was making more money down here than I was making there. I found a job making more money down here, and I was like, okay, I'm sold.
So you got a raise where the dollar goes much further.
Yeah,
That's
I
incredible.
couldn't beat it. It was perfect. My boss said to me when I first started working, he's like, "Yeah, I can only pay you 25 an hour." I'm like, "Okay, only? Okay, I ain't gonna fight you."
Yeah, the cost of living in the tri-state area is just absurd, and
It's nuts, and that's why. But the problem is now everybody's moving down here. I swear, if they turn this fucking blue, if they turn this state blue, I am gonna lose my shit.
right,
I
and
think that my next stop is Cuba, maybe. I don't know.
that's the problem. They're bringing their stupid political views with them,
Right,
and they're essentially fleeing what they voted for.
right, exactly, and then they just don't see it. I'm sorry, but and that's the crazy thing. You literally tell these people months ago. You tell them months ago that this shit's gonna happen, right? Then it happens, and they still don't trust you. You literally you predicted the fucking future, and they still don't believe you now. It just boggles my mind. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's just straight common sense. If you have an open mind and you can see things for what they are, then you're on the you're on the right side.
well, I do find it scary, and especially with leftists, that they're so committed to just one side of the spectrum, and supposedly the open-minded people on the side of tolerance, and they've proven the last 5 years they're the most intolerant fucks out there.
Right. They're fake woke, just like Tom McDonald said.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They think they're wide open because everybody's accepted no matter who you are, no matter what you look like. Okay, that's fine. So if you want to look like a fucking, I don't know, a dude with makeup and tits, that's fine. Don't rub it in my face. Don't make me change my way of living. Now I gotta guess what fucking pronoun you are? Are you gonna have a fucking name tag? Hi, my name is they. Like, what the fuck? Are you gonna have something written on your forehead that tells me something? I mean, if you want to look like a fool and you want to go down that road, identify yourself somehow. You want me to call you a certain like name that makes no sense? They, them. I'm sorry. Who are you? Six people? I mean, if you want to go down that road, then you know what? Get a fucking tattoo on your forehead of what you want me to call you, and I promise you I'll call you that because you're gonna look like a fucking idiot walking down the street. So I'll have the respect to call you what you want to be called. You want to be a schmuck? That's fine. I'll call you a schmuck. But don't tell me that you're a schmuck, but I should accept your schmuckness and do the same thing that you're doing. No, fuck you.
Well, if I look at somebody's profile on social media and it has pronouns in it, I just don't fuck
I
with them.
walk away. Walk away.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a conversation with somebody like that.
No, you
I'm
can't.
sorry, but now you're gonna tell my kids that if they want to be boys and girls, they can do whatever they want. No, 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 no. I'm sorry. You're not gonna tell my child who doesn't know what anything he wants to do yet in life. You're gonna tell him who to do. You know that he can. You can be a fucking butterfly. You can be a dragon. Like what is wrong with you people?
Right.
Your pants. What does that mean? You just like you just guess whatever. Like gender fluidness. This nonsense. I don't identify as anything. Okay, what are you, a fucking cloud? Like, what am I like? And you just expect me to just know what you don't even know what you want, and you're gonna tell me what to call you? You're still confused on what you want. You don't identify as anything, so you're confused, and you want me to be just as confused as you? No, I know who I am. I know what I like. I know what I want to be. Don't tell me, that I gotta get on your level of confusedness.
Right. And that's sort of the same live and let live mindset that I think we both have, where it's like, okay, if you consider yourself gender fluid, great. Just don't shove it in my face.
Right.
And in your case, don't shove it in the face of your children.
And if I screw up, okay, if you have a deep voice and a mustache and I say, sir, don't come at me. I'm sorry. Listen, there are some freaking trannies that will fucking blow your mind. Okay. There are some that legit, they get me sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But now you got like, you're still loading, you're still buffering, and you expect me to know what you are? Just because you put a dress and a wig on, I still see your mustache and your bulge. Like, what the fuck you want from me?
And, I think we could all agree that maybe in life we've come across people that maybe should have been born the opposite gender than what they were. But that's like very few and far between. And now it's just, what they're trying to do with normalizing the gender fluidity is, look, my belief is that for the most part, it's a mental illness, especially when you were saying the people that use pronouns they, them, right? First of all, why do you need two pronouns? I only have one, which is I have a dick. I'm a guy. And if you really believe that your pronouns are they and them, how is that not mental illness? That's
right. That's bipolar. That's bipolar
disorder.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But that's what we called it back then. Now it's you're pansexual and you know what you want. People who have all these labels, I think, are just confused about what they want. Right. Then you're bi. I'm sorry, if you're confused about what you are, then you're bi. You don't know what you like. And you tell me there's 72 genders?
Right, that's the problem. And look, don't get me wrong. Like power to whoever considers themselves what. If you identify as a unicorn and you really fucking believe it, I don't know if you're a South Park fan, but there was that one episode where Kyle's father identified as a dolphin and got the surgery to become a dolphin, like human hybrid. That's great. But it's the fact that they're imposing this on our society.
Right, and they're normalizing it. They're telling kids that this is normal and this is what you should grow up knowing. And they're twisting our. The problem is they know that if you start with the kids, the youth of the generation is the most manipulated, or can be the most manipulated because it's
a clay.
Right, you're like a sponge as a kid. You know what I mean? You pick up everything, and like I said earlier, if you put something in front of a kid enough, you put cartoons in front of a kid, that they'll remember it. This is what they, if you ingrain somebody with this shit, they're gonna know it, and they know with kids, if you catch the kids, it's over. Because if you get in the young mind, you can twist it any way you want.
Right. And to your point, this whole liberal takeover of our society, especially now that's very prevalent in the universities and the schools, these seeds were planted not last week. These seeds were planted in the 70s. Right. It was a long-term plan. And now we're watching what the results are, because the amount of people that can't think for themselves right now is crazy. And the other thing that's crazy too is that they're also denouncing critical thinking.
Right.
Did you have
So
to
now
make
they're
a
telling
video
you. Now
about
they're
that?
telling you it's a bad thing to question.
Right.
See, what me growing up, when I went to yeshivas and shit, because I went through all of that. I went to yeshivas. I was like a legit straight up Jew. You know what I mean? I went and in yeshiva, it was good to ask questions. Like when you had a good question
For
when
those
you were
that aren't
learning
familiar with
something.
that term, what is that?
What, yeshiva?
Yeah.
It's like a Jewish school
Okay.
for Jew kids.
So like hardcore.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, you prayed in the morning and you did your Hebrew studies and then you did your English studies. Yeah, I went to school from like 9 o'clock to 5:30.
Yeah.
You know,
By
it
the
was a
way,
serious.
I grew up one town away from Jared Kushner, and they have a Hebrew school that maybe it's like 10 minutes away from where I grew up. So I don't know if that's like the same.
It all depends on what community it is and how religious they are. You know what I mean? Like I went to the religious schools.
Yeah. I grew up next to a town called Livingston, New Jersey, which is like a very,
Yeah, that is a
very
pretty Jewish
common.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So when I went to schools as a kid, when I would learn the Hebrew studies, it was like encouraged to ask questions. Like when you had a good question, the rabbi was like, "Oh, it was a good question." You know what I mean? He'd explain it, and it was good to question things. It was
Right.
normal. It was as a kid, that's what you did. You questioned because the more you question, the more you learn.
And it shows the bad term now.
Right. It shows that you have a mind of, okay, let me try and figure this out. You know what I mean? Because I want to learn. I just, I need more information. And they're saying that that's bad. If you question anything now, you're going against the rules and you're a horrible human being. And if they do this early, it's going to become so normal that
Right.
we won't know the difference.
And it's funny, they call us the N-word, right? They call us Nazis, I guess the other N-word. But isn't that what Nazis essentially did?
It's exactly what they did.
Shut
They
down.
convinced an entire country to hate a person because of who they were as a people. They didn't hurt anybody. They didn't steal anything. They didn't murder people. They didn't, they weren't, we didn't do anything bad. They just got taught that we were horrible people that were here to control the world, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're telling people that if you're a Trump supporter or if you have these beliefs, that you're this horrible person and you need to be burnt at the stake for it. But all it is critical thinking. I'm just using my mind. I'm seeing things for what they are. I'm understanding that actions speak louder than words. You can spew all you want, but you cannot tell me that Trump got on a platform and said what he said and actually came through with most of the shit that he said he was going to do, which is what a politician's job is. And we haven't seen that in a long time. They say what they want to get your vote. And as soon as they get your vote, it's fuck you, done. Trump, the first words out of Trump's mouth was we the people.
Mm-hmm.
Us, we. He didn't say I'm going to help you and I'm going to do this for you. He said we need to take this country back, give the control back to the people,
Yep.
because that's what this country was built on, is we the people elect government officials to help us. We need, what I'm saying, they get fucking paid by us. They're working for us.
It's
And at this
incredible.
point it's the opposite.
Right.
Because they got us by the balls. Because I'm going to shut you down and you need me.
And in a truly free society, the government should be afraid of the people, not the other way around, which is where we are now.
Right. Like what's his name said? The eight scariest words in an English dictionary. We are from the government and we're here to help you.
Right. That's a good quote. I haven't heard that one. That's a really good quote, though.
Yeah. He said the most terrifying words in the English dictionary are, we are from the government and we're here to help you.
Yeah.
And he was another one. He was an actor. The man, it just seemed like he got sick of seeing us get fucked over. And he said, you know what, I'm going to do something about it. And that's exactly what Trump did. If you look back on his interviews, He said, I can't see myself doing it, but if it ever got to the point where it needed to get done, I would do it. I'd never rule it out. And he saw us getting sold and getting used by these corporations and people. And he said, you know what? Enough is enough. Let me try and help. And look what happened. He got crucified for it. What happened to other people who wanted to help in history? Look at Jesus. Look at all the people that got gunned down or shot or stabbed or anything. They all had a message. They all just wanted to say, you know what? Let's give peace a chance. How about that?
God
Let's give
forbid,
peace
right?
a chance. And everybody who ever spoke out on that got either gunned down or magically killed themselves.
Well, the only reason I believe Trump is actually alive is because he pays for his own private security on top of the Secret Service.
Yeah, listen, I'm sure if they were able to, they would have tried.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, come on. At this point, they go to such extremes, and they don't even hide the fact that they're fucking lying. It's like another guy died recently. They said he got fucking multiple blows to the head, but it was ruled a suicide. So
And
what you're telling me is I'm gonna punch myself to death? There's got to be some point where you say, all right, I'm done. Honestly, you're gonna sit here telling me that you killed yourself by multiple trauma wounds to the head? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I smacked myself in the head 9 times with a baseball bat.
Right. There was also that Capitol officer that they found out in Georgia of a self-inflicted gunshot wound that never gets talked about.
Right.
He put
and
him.
What about the Capitol? The Capitol cop. They got. Listen again. We all speak on this. That should never happen. But apparently he got hit in the head by a fire extinguisher, but managed to call his brother-in-law a couple hours later.
Well, they determined that he didn't die from that wound.
Right. So he probably got smacked in the head with a freaking fire extinguisher, right, but didn't get mauled to death.
Right.
And every time somebody speaks out on it, they shut it down because they have the corporations and they have these giant tech companies in their fucking pocket. And this, it all boils down to the same thing. It's all about money and corruption.
Right. And what's funny about, to circle back to the Capitol incident, all these videos were on social media of cops just letting them in. All the doors were on.
But they're twisting that around now too. They're saying, "Oh yeah, all those cops were Trump supporters and they wanted to hate." And now they're going. Nancy Pelosi said it the other day. Now she wants to try and go after those cops and say that they were Trump supporters and they were, they incited it too. They helped. What?
They were probably just following her orders.
Yeah, because somebody said to her that they wanted to up the security and they didn't want to. I think there was a whole fucking ruse too. Why were there gas masks under the chairs? Why is there a video of right when the people got in, they said there's masks under your chairs and blah blah blah. Why would you know that would happen?
So yeah, I have it here. It was the sergeant of arms for the Capitol Police went to McConnell and Pelosi, and that's why I keep saying the term uniparty, because really the establishment, the swamp, whatever you want to call it, that's why I keep saying patriots versus establishment. And the establishment, I think, wanted those optics on January 6th.
It's not a secret. You know what I mean? People aren't that stupid, and they seem to think that we are. We see that they're a magic show right now. Okay, they think they have a curtain up, but in our eyes, the curtain is see-through. Literally, we see through all of this bullshit. It's not. At this point, they don't even try and hide it. They're not good at it. If you're going to do this, you'd at least be good at it. You suck at it because we see right through your bullshit. You can't keep it hidden, and you just make yourself look more like morons the more you try and convince us that you're holding up a drape and we can't see what you're doing.
Absolutely. And big tech, it's a double-edged sword, because if you want to do your own research, again, you need a good BS filter to do your own research. But that's how I formed my own opinions almost 10 years ago, was just doing my own research and listening to independent-minded people that had no stake in the game, weren't making money off of politics, and just told their interpretation of what's really happening. And I feel like it does come back to the critical thinking. The less we have of that, and the more dumbing down we have of society in general, we're
The
just
more
getting,
screwed we are.
yeah.
Yeah. And I was never a research guy. I'm not tech savvy, you know. I don't even consider myself, I mean, I think I'm a little intelligent, but I don't consider myself a fucking big computer research guy. But I trust a lot of these people that I listen to. You know what I mean? And if they go out and do the research for me, I don't have to do the research.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you show me something and it makes sense and every puzzle piece fits, you know, then obviously you're the one who I'm going to go to for my research. You know what I mean? And you see it everywhere. That's what I love about TikTok. I get so much information all over the place. You know what I mean? And I've met some of the most fucking amazing people I ever meet in my life. I came down here, knew no one. Okay. Been here 2 years. And off this app, TikTok, I've met so many incredible people. And I have friends everywhere now. You know what I mean? It's awesome. And it's very informative too, because a lot of people on the app do their research and they actually look into facts and they give you the facts, you know? And that's what I'm saying. It's that easy to see it, like, but then again, they also take down shit constantly. Whoever
Right.
speaks the truth, they just silence it.
I'm sure you see a lot of stuff before it gets taken down, because I'm sure I do as well. But so you were telling me yesterday, you were saying about 9 out of your 10 videos actually got taken down, something like that.
Well, no, so far this week, I think my number was probably like 87. They just take down my videos, and especially the ones that I answer comments. And they take them down for two reasons: bullying and harassment. Because apparently people just can't handle the truth.
First of all, I think adults should never use the word bully, but that's just me.
Right. See, people like me who have been kicked while they were down have been bullied before. And you coming at me with this, like I love how some people think that they can offend me and like really get to my nerves. I'm sorry, I've been through way too much to be hurt by your bullshit. Okay, I have been through a decent amount of shit in my life. You know what I mean? Kid always got picked on. Never had a brother. My father was gone since I was 7. Like, there's no white privilege here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had to fucking work for what I have, and it makes me appreciate everything I do. And I've been down, and I've been kicked while I'm down. So don't think that you're coming at me is gonna hurt my feelings. But as soon as I give it back, they fucking get butthurt and they just run away like fucking ants.
So
Because they can't handle the truth. Somebody who tells it like it is and tells you to grow up and stop being a little bitch and get a fucking job and go live in the real world and stop fucking sucking on mommy's tits. How can you say that?
Fat Jew. I don't know if we lost you.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay. You froze for a second.
What's up, baby? Yeah, so people they take down my video constantly because I think if I say something about a comment, that person who got told comes to my video and reports it and says that I'm bullying them. So they take it down. But they've taken down plenty of shit too. Like if I'm sitting there making fun of, you know, stuttering, muttering somebody, they'll take it down too. And if I say, you know, cunt mala, they'll fucking take it down too.
That's a good. I like that one. Let me ask you a question. So I'm more of a YouTube content creator. You're more of a TikTok content creator. We're not exactly.
No, I can be whatever creator I need to be, but I never like pushed my YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, but like I don't know, I think I have like one video. I use YouTube for my music. I'm a big music guy.
Okay.
I listen to fucking shit that people are like, dude, what? Because I'll go from I will literally go from I don't know. I'll go from Ray Charles to Volbeat to I'll go any genre you can think of. I listen to, and I listen to like weird shit too. I listen to freaking Caribbean music and Jamaican music and like all type of shit. You know, so that's what I use my YouTube for mostly.
When I think about Caribbean music and Jamaican music, that reminds me of being a kid on a cruise with my parents and just and just like no problems in life, just like chilling and having a good time.
That's it.
Steel drums playing in the background.
Yeah. With the steel drums playing in the background.
What's your favorite genre though? It sounds like you have a lot of them, but like if you had
I can't even say that I have a favorite genre. Yeah, you can say hi. It's not like, you know.
Hey, Mrs. Fat Jew.
Hi.
How you doing?
That's the Fat Jew's wife on TikTok. Yeah, I really can't say that I have a specific genre. I just have.
You listen to everything.
Yeah, and since I was a youngin, I've always found myself searching for all different music. So like if I like a genre, I'll get into, and that's why YouTube, that's the only thing I could really appreciate about YouTube. The suggestions and the, you know.
Yeah.
So I spent like 4 straight years. I had a computer class in the GED school that I was going to.
Right.
I couldn't even consider it a computer class because all it was is sticking me in front of a computer and just telling me to fucking do what I wanted. Like most of the time, the teacher wasn't even there. It was just me. So I discovered the internet and I discovered music, and that's all I did with my time was find new music. Like if I went to computer class and I found 3 new songs, I'd burn another CD and I'd use a bunch of my older music and I'd use those 3 music, you know, those 3 songs, and I would just like keep finding new music, and I wouldn't stop myself from going to a different genre. And I've just listened to fucking anything and everything. If it sounds good, it makes me move my head or my feet, I'll listen to it.
Now I want to say burn a CD. That's a term I haven't heard in years. That's
Bro, I can't tell you how many freaking CDs I've burnt throughout my lifetime.
What I did was when I got my first iPod, I had a really dumb, retarded friend at the time that, I mean, I still love the guy, but he's not around as much. But he had like 1 million playlists on his iTunes, and I didn't understand why. And then when I got my first iPod, I took his approach and I converted all my burnt CDs into iPod playlists. So my mix CDs, I call them mix CDs, but burnt CDs, but that same shit, they're going to live on forever on my iTunes. I love it.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did, and that's how I got into it. And my mom was always into like country music and different music, so like I got that whole side. And then I discovered rock music, like, you know, the rock music I listened to at like probably 15, you know, because as a kid, we didn't listen to a lot of that shit. Well, I wasn't exposed to it because I was religious Jewish. I listened to fucking, you know, Jewish music and shit. You know what I mean?
That's the thing.
What? Jewish music?
Yeah.
Fucking A right, it is, bro. They got all kinds.
I guess it makes sense because there's Christian music.
Yeah, there's all kinds of music in the Jewish community. It's, you know, and it's just clean music. You know what I mean? No kid in Borough Park with the curls is listening to Cardi B in the Future. You know what I'm saying? They're listening to fucking Uncle Moishy and the Music Band. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't exposed to it. I wasn't exposed to TV as a kid. That's why, like, in my teenage years, I was exposed to all of this stuff, and you know, it just amazed me. And I'm always looking for new stuff, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid to listen to anything. If I like it, I like it. If not, I'm gonna tell you it's shit, and I don't want to listen to it. You know what I'm saying?
To be honest with you, I was really big into music until Trump ran, and all these music artists I admired and loved their work started shitting.
As soon as a singer tells me who to vote for, I'm done with you.
Right.
Completely and utterly. I don't want to listen to your shit anymore.
And being from Jersey, and my father's no longer with us, but my father was a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. And I used to I lost my father like 9 years ago. And
sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But I, you know, we all go through rough shit in life, but it is what it is. But my dad used to shove Bruce Springsteen's music down my throat as a little kid. And my parents got divorced when I was like 4. So some of my earliest memories of like being 7, 8 years old are my father just being in my father's studio apartment with him and him playing Bruce and like, son, I want you to hear this song and that song. And I really didn't care for it when I was 8, but I found an appreciation for it after my father passed away, like a new appreciation for it.
Yeah.
And then when Trump ran, all of a sudden Bruce was this big liberal Democrat, supposedly representing New Jersey. He doesn't represent me. And it just, I can't, it's hard for me to listen to his music now. And when I used to,
you're kind of in a catch-22 because Bruce Springsteen automatically makes you think of your pops.
Right. And when I used to listen to his music, I kind of felt like I was channeling my dad, and I was like, you know, with my dad when I would listen to his music. And I still do feel that way. But now I think scumbag. And I think fucking hypocrite asshole, because he's supposed to be like the working man's guy.
Right.
And it's like, how do you hate Trump? He brought back all the working man's jobs that your party made fucking go away. Because remember, Trump was going to have to use a magic wand to bring all these jobs back.
Oh yeah, he found it apparently. He went to the same place Harry Potter went, and he got the magic wand, and he fucking flung it, and everything fixed itself.
And this guy lives in like such a wealthy town in New Jersey that you can't even like drive into his town.
Right, and then that's the hypocrisy I always speak on, and that's another thing that really gets to me. It's like, one thing I know I'm not is a hypocrite. I'm not going to tell somebody that they can't do something, but then I'm going to turn around and do it.
Yeah.
The fuck are you looking at?
I didn't say anything.
Why are you looking at me like
I
that?
didn't say anything.
See, he's not even going to tell his own wife the same shit. So I did want to ask you, because I might be your biggest TikTok fan. I don't fucking know. I feel like your shit's gonna blow up eventually. But is there a favorite video you made, like shitting on a particular comment or like a stupid, just ignorant view that you can think of?
I'm pretty proud of that Biden one that went pretty far. I mean, I thought I did a pretty good job, and it was like, I did it in the first take, which always makes me feel better about myself, because sometimes I'll fuck up and I'll be like, shit, I gotta start over. But like, that's what I appreciate about the realness. Like, when I'm really serious about something and I'm trying to get a point across, I'll usually say it with no problems. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's usually the ones that I like best, is the ones that just are straight off the top, that I don't fuck up with the mumbling, or if I don't fuck up myself, you know what I mean? I just come on straight and I say it. It happens right, and it just comes straight from the head. Those are the ones that I enjoy doing. I don't know if I have like a favorite. I just point out stupidity, and there's just so much to choose from.
But I gotta say, you do it in a very entertaining and like, sometimes if I'm not going through my FYP, I'll just go to your page and I'll just scroll through your videos, and I'm like, wow, like it's actually pretty incredible that you just come up with a lot of this shit off the top of your head, that you're able to just refute these points. Because sometimes, see, I think the thing you do that I don't do, you put your anger aside. And like, I just get so pissed off when I see these ignorant, intolerant fucks.
Because this goes back to me being fucking like picked on all my life.
Right.
I've angry. I'm not, listen, you can ask my wife. She has seen me angry. We've been together, what, 12 years now?
Almost.
We've been together almost 12 years now. She's seen me angry twice.
Wow.
Twice in 12 years, like angry.
Right.
Like, to the point where I am ready to fucking rip somebody's fucking head off, and it's over.
When you see red.
Right, because I have enough patience to put the bullshit aside. Like, I'm not gonna fight with you over some nonsense. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna take your comment. Oh, you're a fat fucking pig. Oh, okay, okay. Like, okay, I may be fat, but you're still a dumbass. You know what I mean? Like,
intellectual battle, by the way.
What?
Way to win on your intellect, by the way.
Right. We're sitting. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and you're just calling. Oh, you're a Trump or fat fuck. Okay, so you can't have a civil, normal conversation. Why are you on Earth?
And it's like,
we're humans.
By the way, did you see my name? It's the Fat Jew. So
yeah, that's another thing. You think I call myself the Fat Jew?
I love when people can't say our username.
Oh, that gets me every time.
It's the best.
If I go into somebody's live and they're like, "Oh, I can't say that."
Why?
Like, It's my fucking name.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh, I can't say that, but that's the whole thing. The world needs a little more fucking. They can't get angry so easily. The world needs a little comedy. You know what I mean? You got to laugh about certain shit, but you got to be serious about shit that's serious. And you're not being serious about anything that you know. It's like you're getting serious about the wrong shit.
Yeah, and I grew up. That the term Jew was just short for Jewish. It didn't mean like a negative connotation. It just meant like you're just cutting down a syllable.
Right. I'm a Jew.
Me, like if I said no, like were there times in my life where I ever said, "Oh, fucking Jew"? Yeah, sure. But I've also said "fucking Guinea Wop," which is what I am. You know, I'm Italian.
Right.
And
like, see,
like,
I'm okay with if somebody came up to me, right, and used the Jew as even like if somebody's cheap. Oh, stop being a fucking Jew. Like, that's comedy to me. That would even if somebody said that to me without knowing I was a Jew, I would still laugh at it. And I would say, I am a fucking Jew. How funny is that? Like that, like you gotta have some comedy in life. You can't take shit like that so fucking serious.
You know what I've always said too? Stereotypes exist for a reason. So you're gonna make fun of a society for being good with their money, basically. All right.
Stereotypes are most of the time true. So if they're true, why can't I laugh about it? If exactly. Me not talking about it is not going to change it, why the fuck not talk about it? Listen, Jews are cheap. They're good with money. Yeah, because they're cheap, and because they keep it in their community. That's probably where the term cheap came from. You know what I mean? Jews have a very like tight-knit community. Jews help each other out. If I was still living in Brooklyn, okay, and I was still within the Jewish community, I would be so much more well off. You have no idea. And that's not a joke, because the Jewish community has a way of helping everybody out. So if I was still in that community, I would have a decent amount of money, because I know that I would be in good, connections. But I gave that shit up because I can't be within that. It's just too crazy for me. You know what I mean? But that's how the Jewish community is, because they keep it within their community. If they don't want to give it to some other community and they want to keep it in their community, that's how communities build. You know what I'm saying? By helping each other out, you become bigger and greater. You know what I'm saying? If other communities did that and people got together and helped their community, it would be a better place. If the black community started, supporting the black community.
Right. Now it's funny. Let's touch on the Black Lives Matter hypocrisy for a second here, because when you go on their website, their agenda's all fucking fucked up anyway. But how come Black lives don't matter from all the black on black violence in Chicago? But it's only one you get. There's always going to be a corrupt cop here and there. So you get one corrupt cop, the George Floyd thing. And by the way, the George Floyd thing, I don't agree with what the cop did. It was wrong. But they give you no context on that story. And again, I don't need to drill down into that. I'm sure you know all about it. But the point I'm trying to make is, how come black lives don't matter when black people kill other black people?
Because they took, okay, that boils down to, again, because anytime something happens that has that situation in it, it's a small, tiny spark. And they take the gasoline and they throw it on it. And they turn it into something that it's not. That's why if you turn on the news and you say, oh, white guy kills black guy, that sounds worse than a cop killed a guy, who was resisting, and he knelt on his knee. It's a completely different story, because as soon as you throw a color on it, now we're different. And now we're separating. Again, it all comes back to this shit. Because if you separate, you can conquer.
Right. Divide and conquer.
Right. And that's what they do. It's even the Michelle Obama shit she came out with, that whole speech. She always, black, white. Why does it have to be? Morgan Freeman said it best. He said, how do you end racism? You stop talking about it.
Right. And he's not exactly a Trump supporter either.
He's not.
Right.
He's not. But you know what? The man said, why is there a Black History Month? It's American history. We're all American. Yes, we know what happened, and we will never forget it. But that's why you move on and you say, let's be friends now. Let's get along now. We're past that.
And by the
That
way,
had nothing to do.
I'm sorry. I feel like we're at the point in this country where I feel like every month is Black History Month now.
Right. Because anytime they could use it to their advantage, it's just easier for them. And if you look at the statistics and you look at the numbers, it doesn't make sense to what they're saying.
Right.
More white people get shot by cops than black people.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, but 9 times out of 10, if you give somebody respect, you'll get it back. If you come at that situation already with the hostility, expect some back. Because that is a human being as well, just like everybody else. If you come at me with that fucking attitude, I'm going to give it right back. Come at me with some respect, and I'll give it back to you. I'll treat you like a human being. If you want to act like an asshole, I can do the same thing. Well, and that's when tension turns, and that's when it turns into a race thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, on a lighter note, you do that very well on TikTok. And like I said, I think your videos are the thing that makes you different from a lot of other people I follow that have a lot more views. Not only do you just tell it like it is, but you're very entertaining. I don't know if you realize that, but like the way
I mean, I've always been told I'm entertaining. I believe I'm an entertaining person, and some people appreciate it. Some people obviously can't stand it, but I don't give a shit. And I think that's what it is about it. You know what I mean? Because I just don't give a shit. You're somebody behind a screen. If you were right in front of me, I would tell you the exact same thing. And I think that's what people appreciate the most is that I'm real, and I'll tell it to your face as well. If you were standing in front of me, I would never say something in front of a screen that I wouldn't say directly to your face. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just being real about it, and that's what people appreciate. Because that's what everybody always tells me. It's like, I love how you just tell it like it is. Because what else is there? Why do I have to hide behind shit? I'm just going to tell you how I feel. If you don't like it, that's your prerogative. You can walk away. Like I say all the time, if you don't like my shit, scroll on. But you're the one who's got my cock in your mouth because you can't stop coming to me for fucking nonsense. So obviously you like me. It's not the other way around. I can't stand your stupid ass, but you keep coming at me. So obviously I'm doing something right.
Well, I got to tell you, it comes through the screen, so to speak, and it shows. And you must get, how many messages do you get per day? Because like when you respond, so like I'm not a TikToker. I'm a viewer. I'm not a content creator. I do have content on TikTok, but it's content that I've chopped up from YouTube that I put in like 1-minute slices.
Right.
So when you do those videos where you actually like show somebody's comment and then you're responding to it, how does that work?
Well, I pick the best ones, obviously, because there's so many. I cannot tell you the one video I did with Today Junior with Joe Biden. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I don't think so.
All right, so it's on there. It's way back at this point. It's probably got, I don't know, 500,000 views. That one went somewhere. And the amount of comments that came in was just astronomical. I think at this point it has like 30,000 likes and like stupid amount of comments. And all I see all day, I'm scrolling through these comments, and there's so many. And then what happens is, especially with political posts, I'll post something, and then people start their bullshit, and then my fans will see it. They'll look through the comments, and they'll start arguing with those people. So it just becomes this trailing. It's amazing how many comments, how many conversations are had in the comment section, and I get to see all of it, right? And it's just so much to choose from with the stupid shit that people say. So I pick out the worst ones and I just use them. I'm like, ooh, this comment's great. I can get some comedy out of it. Like the other one that the other day, somebody wrote, oh, you're just mad because your KKK member is not a KKK member or some shit like that. So I took the comment and I took a picture of Robert Byrd and like who he was and what he did.
And then I took a picture. That don't know, that's the guy that Joe Biden eulogized, right?
No, and then I took a picture of Joe Biden holding his hand at that rally, and I was like, huh? You were saying? So I point out their own stupidity.
Right.
And I think that's what people like, when I shut somebody up, it's like my glory. I love it. Because like sometimes I'll go back and forth with people. I'll say something, then they'll say something stupid again, and then I'll just go back and forth. And then I get the video, right, that I just shut them down. I say something, and I guess whatever I said took it to the point where they had literally nothing to come back at me with. So they just stop commenting and they just go away. And whenever that happens, I'm like, I got another one. You know what I'm saying? Because I just put you in a corner and you had nowhere to go because you had no other argument. Now I just shut you down. And that like makes me feel so great. I love doing that shit.
Yeah, no, it reminds me, I don't know if you ever watched The Sopranos or not, but
I dabbled a little bit.
there's an episode where his son is sitting at the breakfast table with Tony, and he goes, "Dad, you just proved your own ignorance." And like Tony snaps out, he goes, "Fucking what you say?" And he dummy slaps him or whatever. But that's like what I think of that, because that's almost like you force them to prove their own ignorance in a way.
Right. They they do it to themselves. Like sometimes it's so easy, because they're so uninformed. And I can't tell you how many times I've made the same video to the same comment by a different person. Like
Really?
I can't tell you how many times I've answered whenever they said, "Oh, they were good people on both sides," and I at this point know that speech word for fucking word because I've said it so many times. You know what I mean? But they just refuse. Like I don't know what it is. Is there a blockage? Is there something not
Common
clicking?
sense.
Like I want to know. That's my thing too. I would love to sit down with somebody who's willing to have a conversation and say, "Hey, let's lay all our cards out on the table
Right.
and let's talk about them one by one. We don't have to agree. We don't have to take the same card. You could take your card when we're done and I could take my card. But let's at least talk about it. Let's meet halfway."
But the problem is the other side's not willing to do that.
Right. And that's the problem. And the fact that they don't see that drives me nuts.
Me too.
Because they just automatically assume that we're bigots, racists, and we're like horrible human beings.
By the way, where did that word bigot come from? I never heard of that word until Trump ran.
Me neither. Me neither. Honestly, I honestly never heard it until they started using it on TV.
Literally make that word up?
I have no idea.
Because I'll tell you exactly what Trump said when he went down the escalator. When Mexico sends their people here, I'm not doing a Trump impression, I'm just saying it the way he said it. They're not sending us their best people. They're rapists. I forget the other word he said. Whatever. They're rapists. They're blah, blah, blah. Some of them, I'm sure, are good people. But he's right, though. And it's not even Mexico at the time. That was 2015. It was a lot of people just coming up through Mexico. And the thing that Trump said that stuck a chord with me, where I really was like, yo, I'm going to get behind this guy. When he said America has become a dumping ground for the rest of the world's problems.
Right.
And I couldn't have agreed anymore. And anybody that was too blind to see that, I don't know where you're getting your fucking information from.
Yeah. Do you know why Florida is so like gun friendly? Florida is so gun friendly because with the cocaine cowboys, when people were just running around shooting each other on the streets, they said, "Okay, we need to start arming citizens." I mean, that's what made that okay. And now you want to just keep. I've seen video of what the border sounds like at night. The shit is scary.
Right.
Like,
and what the media doesn't tell you, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what the media doesn't tell you is that those communities in Texas that live on the border want the fucking wall.
Right.
Border communities want the wall. So I think Trump's going to run.
Anytime somebody says some shit about the border, okay, this is another one I love answering. When they're like, "Oh, we should, have open borders." I said, "Okay. So let me come to your house and take your front door off the hinges."
Right. How does that work out?
I mean, it's the same thing, right? America is our home. Yes, you have a house in America, but America is a country. Okay, we have a right to have a door. The same way you have a door on same way you have a door on the hinges. We have a right to have a door as well. If
And there's
somebody comes to your house,
a way to knock on that
right,
door.
right, right. You don't break the window and come in. You knock on the door, ring the doorbell, and say, "Can I come into your house?" If you come in through my window, I'm gonna fucking shoot you.
So you seem like an old school guy, and I will tell you, I'm like, I've done Ancestry.com. I'm apparently like 4th generation American, although I always said I was 3rd, but Ancestry always finds shit. It's pretty cool. Like, I recommend it if you never used it. But anywho, I'm a quarter Polish, and that's for my Polish relatives. Apparently, I've been here way longer than my Italian relatives that all came off the boat in like 1915 or whatever.
Right.
But so I had 3 grandparents that were 100% Italian, and I'll never forget asking all 3 of them individually, how do you say such and such in Italian? How do you say blah, blah, blah in Italian? And they all came back to me with the same answer. I don't know. And I was like, what? I was like, but your parents took you here from Italy. Well, first of all, they were all my grandparents were born here, but you know what I mean? Like they're all their parents came from Italy.
Mhm.
Or as we say in North Jersey, Italy. And I was like, wait a minute. So you really don't know Italian? And like, I would hear them speaking Italian gibberish, like Vangol, blah 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 blah, blah,
Right.
you know. And and what happened was, my great grandparents, and I'm very proud of this, and I talk about this to this day for a reason. They didn't want my grandparents to know how to speak Italian because they wanted them to be American. And I feel like that's lacking right now. And I feel like if you do that now, that's racist or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I think that's a beautiful thing. You fled from the only thing you know. You took a chance on a boat at the time, on a boat that probably, how long did the boat take from Italy? Fucking a month or whatever, 3 weeks?
Probably a while.
And you came here and you had children after you got here and you wanted them to be American. And I'm just so proud of that. And because I consider myself an American first and like I said, a patriot, but too many people put themselves in a bucket that's not related to being an American or not related to being a patriot. It's like, I'm a this or I'm a that. And because you consider yourself to be an American and you consider yourself to be a patriot, you're an istophobe, you're a thatophobe, you know what I mean?
Listen, everybody has the right to hate what they want. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, and I know that's probably the wrong word to use, but like, I have a right to not like something if I want. I'm allowed to have my opinion. Okay. Now, your opinion may be different than me. That's fine. If I'm allowed to think something, I should be allowed to think something. If you think differently, that doesn't make, it's too much for it's too much for my head. I don't understand it, and I guess I never will, because I can never see myself thinking that way. I've always been an open thinker, and I've always been ready to listen to someone, always ready to have a conversation, but they're just scared. They don't want to have a conversation. I feel like it's almost like knowing you'd get proven wrong, so you won't have the conversation. But then how can you not smarten up then? It just blows my fucking mind.
And it goes back to that quote. They just prove their own ignorance.
Right.
Now, if you come to this country, let me ask you a question, as an example. If you come to this country, like if you came here last week, why wouldn't you want to learn English? And why wouldn't you want to learn American traditions and what we do here? And then I have some liberal friends. I do. And they dislike me probably more than I dislike them. And I don't dislike them, to be honest with you, but they probably dislike me because I put my cards out there and I tell them what I think and who I support. But they're like, oh, well, there is no American culture. American culture is just wherever you're from. And I'm just like, no, we're the only country that allowed people to support their heritage. And that's why you used to have Little Italy. Now Little Italy is condensed, but you used to have Little Italy. You have Jewish communities in Brooklyn, like you were talking about. So but at the same time, we embrace whatever our heritage is, but you're also American, and like that's the thing they don't understand.
Right, because America is not a religion, and it's not a belief. America is the right to do whatever you want,
right?
As long as you don't hurt anybody. So if you want to pray 9 times a day, you have the right to do that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be an asshole, you can be a fucking asshole. But
right.
you come at somebody else being an asshole, don't expect them to be an asshole back. I mean, and I think they want us to conform to them, and that's the problem. It's almost like you have your way of living and they have theirs, but they want to force you to live the way they live. No, 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 no. That's not what America is. And that's what it boils down to. And then they sit there and spew, oh, we want our democracy. And really? No, you want to control the masses.
Right.
That's what you want.
And first of all, I hate that word because we don't live in a democracy. We don't. On paper, we live in a constitutional republic, but that's not really what we are anymore. Now we're a banana republic because of the 2016 election, not because of the 2020 election. Again, I have to word it like that, but it is what it is. And I mean, we're no better in all seriousness. We're no better than a banana republic if we're going to let what happened on November 3rd continue to carry on.
Right, because when they first get their job, they swear an oath to a constitution. And that constitution is being trampled on, and they claim that they're doing it to save our constitution. It's like, what? The whole point of the Constitution and the fact that you swear an oath to protect and defend it, and now you're just going back on what you were sworn to do. People just need to read it more often, I think.
No, I hear you. And the whole point of the Constitution was to establish an agreement between the people and the people that were, I don't want to say controlling the people, but the people that were going to govern the people. And that was the whole point. And a lot of that Constitution, the way it was written, and the Bill of Rights, especially the Amendment 1 through 10, was established to protect people's individual rights, civil liberties. Even, look, there were imperfections, sure. We had slaves at the time, sure. But we're the country that fucking abolished slavery.
Right.
And all these anti-slavery people that want to punish us and make us pay reparations. I was just talking about how my ancestors got here at the most 125 years ago, at the most possible time. They still didn't own any fucking slaves. So why should I pay reparations? Right? And by the way, I don't know any 300-year-old slaves. So why should anybody get any reparations? And that's a whole different
issue. It boils back down to the division. You know what I mean? I don't expect reparations from Germany. You know what I'm saying? Like, what they did was horrible. It was disgusting. And what we need to do is learn from it and say, this will never happen again. And that's what you need to do. And what you're doing is you're bringing up the past to argue about it in the future. For what reason? All you're doing is bringing back the subject up. That's like having a fight with a girlfriend, okay? Ending the fight, and then 3 months later, when you're asking her to marry you, bring that shit up and start arguing about it again. It's like, that shit fucking happened, okay? Let's move forward. Let's be a people instead of this bullshit back and forth nonsense. Let's get on with our lives. Okay, in my lifetime, I've never seen a fucking man swinging from a goddamn rope. And I pray to God I never will, because I'm going to learn from history. Obviously, what happened back then was horrible and fucked up, and it should never happen again. and it will never happen again as long as you stop talking about it.
Hey, speaking of that, and you just reminded me, two situations: Jesse Smollett and the guy from NASCAR. Now, what was your take? And I mean, we pretty much know what your take must have been, but did you have to make any TikTok videos about the guy from NASCAR? Have you been on TikTok for that long to address that?
Actually, I see when I do stuff like that, I look for funny situations. So I think my video for that was at my shop we have a shed, okay, and that shed has a tiny piece of string on the end of it. So I took a video of that, and I was like, "Holy shit, my boss must be a racist." And then there's also a fucking oven in there. I'm like, "Holy shit, that must be, that's racist against the Jews too." Like I made it funny, you know what I mean? Because it was a situation that was just made up nonsense, you know what I mean? And it turned out the fucking rope was actually the rope to pull the garage down, and they turn these things into these and I use that as ammo too. If stupid shit like that, I can turn funny and say, it's just I use anything I can to make people laugh at certain situations, especially the stupid situations that are just so easy.
Well, what's great about that video, or not, I mean that situation rather, is that got so easily disproved with
Right.
little to no effort.
Right, because they're so quick to jump to the assumption that somebody's out to get them, when in reality, it's not that way. You know what I'm saying? And the whole Smollett thing, that was
He essentially
that was
got the
just
show he
nuts.
was on canceled.
I mean, that was nuts. I mean, to just come up with that whole scenario and say, "Oh yeah, let's say a what?" What? So now
Even liberals make fun of that story.
it's like,
That's
really? Like you go to that lengths. See, if I ever did something like that, I would never be able to show my face again. You know what I mean? Like that's such a low fucking dirty thing to do. Like, I don't know.
Well, what's funny, I was watching on TikTok, I think Dave Chappelle was talking about it, and Dave Chappelle's not a Trump fan at all. But he was like, first of all, nobody that's a Trump supporter is going to even know who the fuck you are, because Trump supporters do not watch Empire. And second of all, your black ass is going out at 1:15 in the morning in negative 30-degree weather to get a Subway sandwich. I mean, it's just like, again, there's regular logic and this is an oxymoron to say this term, but there's also liberal logic.
Right. And I'll never understand it, never in my life, because I can't see myself stooping that low to even like consider seeing something. Like I just can't.
And I have friends that are like, I unfortunately have some friends that are Republicans that hate Trump. Mm-hmm. And I
listen. You're not winning yeah, sometimes it's a popularity contest, it is, but when you're hiring somebody to do a job, listen, would he be my first choice in the beginning? No. Was he kind of dickish? Yes. Did I kind of like that? Yes, because he told it like it is.
It was entertaining.
Right. It was entertaining, and he said what you wanted to say. That's, I think, a lot of people liked about him. He wasn't afraid to offend somebody, which is okay to offend somebody. That's fine. You want to be offended? That's fine. I don't give a shit. Go find your safe space and cry in it. I don't give a fuck. Like, your offendness shouldn't, like, be my first concern. You know what I mean? And he came out and he said what you were thinking. And, you think about it and you say, you know what? I mean, at this point, what the fuck's the worst that can happen?
Right. And one of the things I love the most about Donald Trump is his hair. Like, where does it start? Where does it end?
I don't know, dude.
It's like a mystery.
Well, what was I going with this? I know I had a fucking point to make.
Well, I know you're going to make...
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Listen, I get that people didn't like him. He said some fucked up shit, grab him by the pussy. I know. I know. He said certain things, and he did certain things, but at the end of the day, you don't have to like him for him to do his job.
Correct.
To do business with somebody, it has nothing to do with liking the person. If the man is a good businessman, then chances are you'll make money together.
All that matters is if they're qualified for the job.
Right. As long as they're qualified for the job and they want to give it a go, that's okay with me. And if you're a little dickish, okay. Listen, was he saying like horrid things that scared me? No. Was he saying things that got people upset because of their feelings? Yeah, but I don't care. I'm not going to let that get to me. You know what I'm saying? As long as the man could do his job, let him try and see what happens. It's 4 years.
Hey, how funny was that after he went down the escalator, he said what he said. And then like a week later, he's like, I love Mexicans at Trump Tower, and he's eating out of a fucking burrito bowl.
Yeah. and he also he pushed limits because in the beginning, you know, everybody took it as a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, you can't tell me that a man is racist who hires all kinds of ethnicities in his fucking buildings. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were a big racist and a person who hated black people, you wouldn't hire him. And he had plenty of them. Plenty of them. And you're going to tell me a man that won an award with Muhammad Ali and Rosa Parks is a racist? Come on.
Yeah, because he ran as a Republican. So, of course, he's racist. But
that's what they automatically go to because that's their strongest weapon.
Right.
That's their strongest weapon. And the fact that the media did such a good job at convincing Americans that Trump was racist that they managed to get one in the White House.
That's a great point. And one of my favorite videos I've seen of him, when he was running, and some lady got in his face like backstage when he was doing like a campaign thing, and she said something about him being racist, and he goes, I'm the least racist person you've ever met, believe me. And I was like, I actually do believe that, because he cares about Americans. He doesn't fucking look at color. He doesn't look at religion. He doesn't look at your fucking gender. He cares about, he cares about
every single person. Okay. See, he is the icon of fucking American dream. Everybody wanted to be like him. All the rappers said they want to be as rich as him. Everybody looked up to him as yes. Did he have help from his father? Yes. Did he turn it into what he turned it into? The man has a skyscraper with his fucking name on it.
Right. And he's had several siblings that are not nearly as successful as he did.
Right. And just look at him as a person. You know what I'm saying? If you look at somebody as a person and their past,
and is he perfect?
No, he's not perfect at all. I'll be the first one to tell you. Listen, man, you're pushing it now.
Or Obama or fucking Bush or Bush Senior. None of these guys are perfect.
Right. I'd rather you give me a coal, okay, and tell me if I shine it, it'll turn into a diamond, than give me a fucking coal that's really shit and convincing me that it's a fucking diamond.
That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? Give me something to work with and let me see what happens.
That's a great
But now you're trying to tell me that this fucking cocksucker is good? I'm sorry, what? And that's what they did. They convinced everybody that he was so bad and they convinced everybody that this man was so good. Meanwhile, this guy is what they warned everybody that the other man was. You know what I mean?
Do you want to know when I started to like him more? Do you remember he had like a clothing line? When I remember Macy's dropped him on his campaign trail. And I was like, you know what? All that tells me is that I should support this guy even more.
Right. Because now you're afraid of just what he's gonna say. I mean, what if you shut down Martin Luther King? What if you turned his fucking mic off? Do you think that would make a difference in this country? I think so.
All right, Mr. Fat Jew.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a pop quiz.
What's up?
Give me the same answer that Trump said on the debate. Ready? You've called women you don't like fat slobs, dogs.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
speaking of gender fluid, she looks pretty fucking gender.
Oh Jesus, you can't. I cannot tell you how badly. Okay, I have to stop myself from stitching some of her shit sometimes.
You should.
'Cause
You should do that.
I have thought about it, but the amount. Let me just tell you this, okay? Now I get fucking hate from people, which is fine. It does. I don't give a flying fuck. These people are the fucking shit I step on in my shoes, okay? But the amount of hate that I probably would get. I mean, it's probably good for my persona because it might fucking build my numbers. But then again, it might get my fucking account fucking stolen. You know what I mean? Nowadays, with all this nonsense that goes on. But I have thought about it. I call out Mike Rappaport all the time.
That guy is such a fucking idiot.
He is a douchebag. Oh, wait. I saw something today that fucking had me dying. You're going to love this. So somebody paused one of his videos of him doing this because he's always fucking yelling like that.
Right.
And they wrote glory and they used the O for the hole. I was fucking dying.
That guy deserves whatever's coming his way because he's such a prick.
I can't fucking stand his
And,
ass.
and everything he says, there's no logic behind it. It's just, oh, why fucking hate Trump? He's a fucking Nazi, and if you support it, it's like that fucking moderator in that fucking room I was in last week on TikTok. You know?
The thing is, see, me and you can have a conversation and we can say different things. When you talk to people and every single person you talk to has a script,
Right.
okay, that's usually the fucking wrong side. I have a way of saying something and you have a way of saying it differently. When you have a script that all these people go off of, that's exactly what it is, a fucking script. Same thing comes back to the commercials. It's a fucking script. You know, if enough newscasts say that Trump is a racist piece of shit over and over and over and over again, it becomes a script. And whoever watches that shit, Trump's a orange man bad. I say it all the time. People are in the fucking orange man bad zombie herd. I mean, that's all it is.
Hey, you know what I say? Orange man rad.
Mm-hmm. Orange man bad. That's all they know.
Hey, Fat Jew, I hate to put you on the spot like this. We have all of one viewers out there, but if I took like a 30-second piss break, are you able to just carry the show for 30 seconds?
I'll play some music. I don't care.
Play some music. I'll be right back.
All right.
Play elevator music, I guess.
Please hold while we connect you to the operating service. What's up, all? I'm a Fat Jew. This is what I do. Well, they banned my live, so for 7 days. TikTok's good at that. Controversial content, apparently. Is there a chat? Can people talk? Let me see something. I guess not. So, how's everybody doing? Trying to get a hold of you about your car's extended warranty. At you on TikTok. March link in bio.
All right, Fat Jew.
So,
we are back online.
See, that's how slow my Wi-Fi is. I just got fucking YouTube hooked up now. My computer is slow as shit. I need myself a good computer.
Well, I think we're building something here, so that's the most important thing. We're laying down the foundation.
Holy shit, look at that. I pulled up my YouTube, and I'm looking at our live right now. It says, Juice Giorgio Show featuring the Fat Jew.
That's right.
Nice. Can I upload, like, once this live is done, can I upload it to my YouTube as well?
Yeah. All you have to do is find a site that converts YouTube to MP4. and it's all yours.
Word. So, what were we talking about? So yeah, I was gonna try not to smoke too much, because when I smoke too much, like I just ramble.
No, keep smoking. You're good at rambling. I
The
appreciate
more
it.
rambling, the better.
It's refreshing. It's refreshing to hear somebody from, again, the New York tri-state area just expose the fucking hypocrisy that's going on.
And the thing that really boggles my mind is it's just so easy to see. You know what I mean? It really, it's not hard. It's right in front of your face. And if you're that blind that you can't see it, then I don't know what else to do. Like I've done all I can do. I want to help some people. I wish I could help some people. I want to be the fucking new Jesus. I wish I could bring these people to the light, but they're just so far gone. It's like they think it's a light at the end of the tunnel. Meanwhile, it's a fucking train coming their way.
By the way, speaking of the term new Jesus, I've said, it's funny you said that. I've been saying, not in public a lot, but I feel like Donald Trump is like the modern day Jesus.
Yeah, and they're crucifying him. It's literally, it's the same shit. It really is. You know what I mean? Yes. Do I think he's fucking literal? No, he's not literally Jesus. But you look at the story. Just look at the story. This is all history. This shit already happened. It's almost like this shit has happened so many times already, and it's just like we can't learn from it. You know what I mean? This literally happened. The man is just trying to help people, and they crucify him and treat him like he is a non-human.
Oh, let me speak of that. You reminded me. There was a little thing that came out called "Crucified by the FCC" by Howard Stern back in the day when Howard Stern was like good.
Yeah, I know the story.
Him? Do you have a take on Stern? Because like he flipped.
I loved Howard Stern, and
Right.
and he was that guy that told it like it is and said fuck you to you know,
right,
to all those people that were wanting to control him and puppet him. Eventually, he got bought and sold and paid for, but you know, what are you gonna do?
It's a shame because one of my favorite just pieces of content of all time. He did a pay-per-view special in 1993 called Butt Bongo. And you watch that Stern, and he probably was like my age at the time, like 35, 36. And I wasn't allowed in the same room as the men watching it in the living room on TV, right? And I think it's somewhere on YouTube. I won't say where, but I think it might still be on YouTube. And just what a difference, man. And he had also had Trump on his show over the years and stuff. And it almost gave you the impression that he was friendly with Trump. And the way that he just shits on him. And like you said, obviously he was bought and paid for. But I feel like it's bigger than that. I feel like he turned his back on also his fans and like the people that he prided himself on entertaining. I feel like he just completely turned his back on them.
But that and that's why as soon as they do that, they lose their fans. Because if you're somebody who's real and somebody who tells it like it is, and all of a sudden you stop that, all those people who looked up to you and followed you and you know, because of that, now have no respect for what you have to say because now they know you're not real anymore. So you went from being real to being a sellout. That's another thing I love about Upchurch. I don't know if you know about Upchurch and the whole beef that's going on with him and Luke Combs. What?
Can you give me like a
well, Luke Combs, because you know who Morgan Wallen is, right? You know about that whole story?
I'm not familiar.
Morgan Wallen said like the N-word. He was talking to his buddy. He was drunk one night. He like yelled it out, and TMZ got like a video clip of it.
So did he say hard R or did he say
No. He was talking to a buddy of his. He was like, yo, whatever.
He said my ninja.
Yeah, exactly. He just said it to his buddy, like, you know how us, if there's nobody around and we're, we just say it or whatever, you know what I mean? And they caught it on tape. So all of a sudden, they tried canceling, but the only problem is that everybody just did a flip around and said, you're ridiculous. We're going to keep supporting him. So they all shut him down and he made more money because of it. Anyway, now Luke Combs, you know who Luke Combs is, right?
Well, I'm not familiar to be
Big
honest.
country singer, heavy set guy. He
Oh, well,
sings a
that's
bunch
why
of.
I'm not into country music. So
Okay, so he's a big country artist, and
okay,
he did a song with Ryan Upchurch back in the day, like when Ryan Upchurch had a following and Luke Combs had nobody, and he put him on his song to kind of get his music out there. And in the music video, there's rebel flags and blah blah blah, because it's a down south. The song is talking about like we don't need another pretty boy singing pretty songs. Like it was an outlaw song, you know what I mean? All like the old school Johnny Cash type feel.
Southern guy singing a Southern song with Southern
Right, just Southern pride bullshit. And
material
that, yeah,
background.
so what they did was, I guess whoever Luke Combs is signed to, I think it's Sony, said that he wanted his name removed from the music video because there were rebel flags in the video. So like, and Ryan Upchurch is like, really, dude, you're a sellout. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a racist thing. It's a down south pride thing where you come from. You know what I mean? And they associate that with race, and like again, it's all it all comes back.
Well, can you imagine if like the tri-state area, and I use that as an example because we're both from the tri-state area. I'm unfortunately still in there, but can you imagine if we still had our own flag and we lost some sort of a war against a few other states? Oh, but but the economy was good. Because what they won't tell you about the Civil War in general was that about 90% of the economy, right, was coming from the South at the time.
Right.
And that war was more about Lincoln building the Transcontinental Railroad and just clobbering the South than it was about slavery. Yeah, slavery had something to do with it. But by the way, another thing they don't talk about, there were states above the Mason-Dixon line that had slavery also during the Civil War. And
yeah, and the TikTok I saw today, I don't know if I didn't say it earlier. Man said back when slavery was a thing, 300,000 people owned slaves. Do you know how many of those people were Republican? Out of 300,000, just take a guess.
I don't know, $1.25?
8. 8 were Republican. The rest were Democrat.
And again, I need to clarify. I'm not a huge, even though
Me
I'm
neither.
a
Me
Republican.
neither. But this is the information I'm getting because, and obviously,
but I will admit that says something.
right. And it's like they still want it because if you separate somebody from a crowd,
mental slavery, right?
what?
There's mental slavery that still goes on.
Right. That's what it is. If you tell somebody, right, that they're different and somebody has the upper hand on you, obviously that person is going to be like, what the fuck? You know, but when you look at it, it doesn't exist. Everybody has the same opportunities. If you have the drive and you have the will to go out there and get yourself something, you can do it. So you're going to tell me you can hustle on the corner and get that Mercedes Benz and get all that shit, but you can't go out in the real world and do that same hustle just differently and legally. You're going to tell me you can't do that? Come on. Yes, you can. Because it's just the drive you need. Entrepreneurs are just they have the drive. It's not like they have the drive only in certain things. They have that, I want to go get it, that hustle mentality. It's just the way it is. And you're going to tell me that you can't put that same energy into something else that will make you a lot of money? Yes, you can. You just don't want to. It's like crackheads and storytelling. Like I know people that can come up with these freaking lies so good that they'll believe it themselves. You can write fucking books. You use that same energy and put it towards something else, because everybody is born with something that they're good at. You just need to find what that thing is,
right,
and excel at it.
And I just actually watched a TikTok video about this, and it's like You don't need to be book smart. You don't need to be street smart. You could be people smart. You could be nature smart. You could be whatever smart. And it's just and the point the guy made was double down on whatever smart, whether it's computer smart or whatever. You know what I mean? And it made total sense.
Yeah, you just gotta. Everybody's got talent. You just gotta find out what it is and put all that energy towards it.
And like you're interested in construction, and my dad was an electrical contractor, so I used to work for him every summer between semesters in college because when I was under 18, I did do a little work for him, legally,
Right.
but he wanted me to not be in construction because he said it was a hard life and people don't always pay you when they owe you money. But looking back on it, and I got to be honest with you, I would have loved to have taken over my father's business because it was a good business. It was cash flow positive, and people always are going to need electricians.
And if he started it, it was already built. So it would have already had the traction. You know what I mean? It's one thing to start a company from scratch. It's not easy. But if you already have the traction and you already have the clientele base and the contacts, then it's a little easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And unfortunately, my dad bought into the liberal bullshit of like, I don't want my son to go to a trade school like I had to. I don't want him to break his back like I had to. I want him to go to college and do something else.
That's because college sold an idea. College sold a life. Okay, but they didn't guarantee that life. College told, yeah, you go to college and but I feel like college is just a way to get contacts. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have an education under your belt. That's fine. But if that job goes away, do you have something else to fall back on? You know what I mean? Like if computers go down, right? I know this is just hypothetical, okay? But if computers, okay, just go down, no Wi-Fi, no computers, no nothing, right? What else can you do? As a person, you got to say to yourself, what else can I do?
And like the best thing Trump said, he goes, "Little Marco hit my hands." He said my hands were small, and if those are small, he meant something else must be small. And I promise you, there's no problem. Had the balls to say that at a fucking debate.
Yeah.
And I admire him because he said stuff like that.
Right, and he told it like it is. And he wasn't afraid to push boundaries. Everybody's so guarded and they're afraid of what to say. That's not what this life is based on. Say what you want. Say what you feel. People won't understand what you're thinking if you don't tell them what you're feeling. You can't expect somebody to understand what you're going through or for them to, know what you're thinking without you saying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why arguments all the time. Oh, I can't stand you, but whatever. And then they go back and forth. And they say, I don't know, where the fuck? See, this is what happens when I smoke. Fuck.
That's all
What
right.
was I talking about?
Hey, take a breath.
Hold on a second. I'll get to it. Just the weed hit me.
Take a breath. You'll be
Just
good.
the weed hit me.
You'll be all right. I believe in the fat Jew. Nothing but positive vibes here on the Juice Giorgio Network.
Hey, man, I tried, bro. I tried. People expect to know what you're thinking, and
hey,
if you don't tell.
I just want to let you know, we've been going for 3 hours. This is the longest live stream I've ever done.
That's because we could just talk about whatever.
We have a good chemistry.
Indeed. I'm loving this. Yeah, you can't expect somebody to know what you're thinking. You have to express yourself. If you don't express yourself, people won't understand what you're thinking.
I agree.
Simple as that.
Now, the problem is with expressing yourself, if you're on the wrong side of the spectrum, they demonize.
Right, because I have an opinion. It's really like sometimes it hurts to think about it. It really does. Just to sit and think that You have half of America telling the other half that you can't have an opinion and you have to agree with me. I'm sorry, but that's fascism.
Well, what's funny is a lot of people don't even know what that word means, and they
Right.
just are
They
fascists.
hear Antifa and they assume everything that,
Right.
that they yell about is what anti-fascism is about. People don't even know what that's what like you just said. People don't even know what that means. And I've had to break that down for stupid people too. I literally took a screenshot of the word and the definition. It's just I point out stupidity and it's way too easy. And it's scary that it's way too easy.
Well, Fat Jew, I really appreciate what you do on TikTok, and I really almost consider it a public service because you're educating people.
I'm trying.
And somehow my algorithm of shit I liked made me catch on to your page. So let's talk about that for a second. The algorithm on TikTok, like it's incredible.
It's a disaster. I mean, it's cool how it works.
No, I mean
But
it's incredible. Don't get me wrong. I mean it's incredible how it just picks up on what you like and what you don't like so quickly.
because first off, when you sign into TikTok, right? You sign in through other stuff. Like you have a way of signing in through your Facebook or Google and all of this shit.
Like for me, like Bumble and Tinder, yeah, I said yes. You're completely
Right.
correct. Yeah,
And all these computer systems are all fucking connected. These computers know exactly what we're gonna do. They know where we it's like it when you really sit down, okay, and I think weed helps me. I really do, because weed helps me really like
it's
think
like
about certain
Matrix,
shit.
it pulls you back and puts things in slow
It
motion.
right, it opens your mind and you actually start to think about and I know there's a lot of fucking people who smoke come up with
Hey,
amazing ideas because it
hey, you
makes you
want to give
think.
me another 20-second rest? I'm going to smoke a cigarette.
Useful, and it almost destroyed cotton.
Right. Oh, so you go back to that. I like that about you.
You know what I'm saying?
The Rockefellers had a hand in that.
Right. And it makes sense, dude. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, too many coincidences turns it into something that's not a coincidence anymore.
It goes linear, and like you start to see the patterns,
Right.
and all you do is call it out, and people hate you.
And I get silenced for it. Just
It
like everybody else that just talks truth. It's
that's
like I want to come up with a fucking with a sticker for my truck that says "Welcome to America," where we censor honesty and glorify stupidity.
yeah. The opposite of the reason why people ever came here in the first place.
Right. That's the reason why people came here, because they didn't have to follow the rules of the government that they just left. And here we are wanting to do the same thing again. You're sitting there telling me socialism works. I'm sorry, it's been tried 40 fucking times and it's failed every single time. You got
Well,
people in Venezuela eating their cats and dogs for dinner because they're so hungry.
some of your best videos on TikTok must be show me a country where
Yeah, they can't. They can't.
show me a country where communism has worked or whatever they want to
Right,
call it.
and then they'll and I know what they're gonna see. I know how the conversation goes. I'm very good. I've always been very good at like calling bullshit out before it happens, and I'm kind of like within my circle of friends, I'm kind of like famous for it. And I know it. Maybe I'm fucking tooting my own horn here, but you can ask a lot of people that know me really well and I talk to. If somebody comes to me with a situation, right? I'll give you an example. I have a lot of friends, so they'll come to me and ask my advice on something about how I feel about a certain person, or if I like meet somebody that they're hanging out with, how I feel about it. And I tell them the truth and I tell them how I feel about it. And I'll say, I don't think it'll work out because, later on down the road, he's going to feel a certain way. And I call the shit out. I literally tell them how it's going to happen. I may be right, I may be wrong. And the shit just ends up happening exactly how I fucking say it. And it's scary a little bit because I see how the conversation goes. So I know already what they're going to answer. So if I say, show me a country where socialism works, right? They'll come back with, but it's never been tried in America. It's different. There's regulations. There's blah, blah, blah. And they seem to think like all of a sudden in America it's going to work just because it's America. I'm sorry, but that's the opposite of socialism. Your whole argument just collapsed on itself.
Right.
This will work because it's America. America is the opposite of that. What the fuck makes you think this is going to work in America? Because it all boils down to greed, and that's every country that's tried it. It starts off okay, and then it becomes greed, and then it becomes the government's controlling what gets done, what goes where, and it all becomes the more money they get, the more they control, the more they line their own pockets, and that's what it all boils down to. It's all money. Money, 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 because the world revolves around money, and people care more about money than they do human life.
Right. They care about money more than what they came into office for in the first place.
Right. They could that whole savior mentality goes right out the window. They completely forget about why they're even there. And it just becomes a business that they need to make more. It becomes a hedge fund.
Good word. Good term for it.
And that's why, and honestly, I think that's why Joe's afraid of sending out the checks, because now he knows that we have this little game figured out. So he's afraid that we're going to get the money and we're going to invest and we're going to do the same thing we did with GameStop. And then, his hedge fund buddies are going to get fucked again. And he doesn't want that shit.
That was a great thing when that happened, right?
It was great because we showed our power in numbers. And it scared the shit out of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because we showed them that we can play that same game that they play every single day. And they call it fucking the stock market. Fucking ridiculous. Telling you, man, it's crazy. And this is what goes through my brain all day long.
Well, I like it. I don't like what we have to think about, but I like the fact that you're thinking about it and you're just a small part, but in a lot of ways a big part in hopefully red pilling people. That's the term we use on our side, is when you red pill someone, And I feel like on your TikTok, I feel like you do red pill people.
I do my best. I really do. But I'm just going to keep doing it until they fucking shut me down. And then I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do because I don't have anything else.
Well, you have this. We have our own podcast.
I'm cool with that.
We could do this. We got a good chemistry. We've been doing a 3-hour live stream. We'll make it work.
I'm down. I'll just tell people to fuck come here. I don't care.
Juice and the Fat Jew.
That's great. It.
Sells itself.
Fat juice.
But I think we covered everything.
Yeah, bro. It really it's just a revolving door. You know what I mean? Because we all all comes back to the same. It's just a wheel. You know what I mean? It all branches off. It's like now, how detectives, how they do cases, how they got the top guy, and then they have the spreading guys, and then how they have the chart.
Yeah.
In every fucking crime movie, there's that chart.
On the fucking board.
Yeah, exactly. You got Tony Soprano up top, then you got the captains, then you got the capos, then you got the associates. This is how I'm telling you, this is all it is, and it all comes back to that top fucking thing. I'm telling you. It's a big game. It's a giant fucking game that's being played. We have no control over any of it.
Right.
Okay?
I'm trying to tell people that. I agree with that 1,000,000%.
And that's why in my earlier days, I never voted because, I said, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, who the fuck am I? Who am I? It's not like, I have a say on what goes on and whose pen signs what paper in that fucking house. They don't, my opinion means nothing.
Oh, dude, how do you think I feel here about that? Oh, God.
Dang.
it's like I go do it on principle, but it's like I know that it's not gonna fucking matter.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like now you know your voice doesn't mean your vote doesn't mean shit because they've trampled all over that too. So now you're
That,
telling me I can't even pick the people I want running my state now. You know what I mean? It's just fucking insane.
and what's bad here in Jersey, our state legislator has a super Democrat majority, which means like they could just ram any bill they want, and the governor's Democrat. So like whatever the Democrats and the state legislator want to do, it's like 82% of our state legislator is Democrat here. So
Right.
whatever bill they want to ram down, they just fucking ram it down, and we have no say in it.
I almost wish like we can just like separate ourselves from the craziness. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
I know it sounds like crazy, but you know what? Like if you want to be on that island of crazy, then find yourself a fucking island that can only house crazy and go fucking live there and leave me to my America that I want to live in and just prosper and just be a fucking human and live my life. You want to live on crazy? You go live on fucking crazy with your own kind
I
and
agree.
leave me to fuck alone. That's it. I want private property. I want to have a gate around your crazy and go fuck off somewhere. And you want to fucking put labels on people and say he, them, she, we, us, whatever the fuck you want, go do it. Get the fuck out of my face with it though. That's it.
Dude, I couldn't fucking agree with you anymore.
It's just a fucking shit show at this point. At this point, we live in a fucking Truman Show, and it's like just turning on us. You know,
Dude,
it's crazy.
I hear you. And I think the whole network fucking hears you, because all you can do is really make good points.
And it makes sense because it's just common fucking sense. It's not hard. Like it's just I just wish I could do more. You know.
Well, look, maybe we'll build something up here. Hopefully, God.
Listen, I wish we can. I hope this goes as far as it can go.
Me
You
too.
know.
And I'm gonna call it a day because I'm getting a little tired.
Yes, sir. I got to go pay some attention to my wife, or else she's gonna divorce me.
Thank you for joining me on my show, and maybe this is a good sign of things to come.
I'm ready, bro. Let me know.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, and it's been an honor having you.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Peace.